The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, welcome back to Am I Mental, a weekly live podcast where real people share stories about dealing with lives that have issues with mental health and things that impact your mental health. I'm your host, E, and with us, as always, is our co-host, C.
Hello.
Sadly, Betsy is not with us tonight. Not feeling well. Wishes us a great show. Always with us in spirit. And I know Betsy probably going to listen in a little bit on the episode. May jump into the chat. Might even try fighting through it because, damn it, this is going to be a great story tonight. But first, we got to take care of some bills. If you like what we're doing, seriously, share our episodes. Like us, follow us, favorite us, whatever. And really get the Spreaker app and follow us on the app so that way if I don't send you out a blast saying, hey, we're going live, because there's a lot of people I send them to, you'll see us go live 5 minutes before we go on air because we do that little musical intro thing. But yeah, definitely share episodes. Share ones that you think that will that resonate with you or will resonate with others. This podcast has already been credited with more than one life being saved and a lot of lives being altered in good ways. And I mean, that's the whole goal of this. That and to help get rid of the stigma and help others know that you're not alone. I've said it plenty of times in the past, and I'll say it again. Your situation may be completely unique to you, but there's only so many emotions that one could feel. Just because we have not walked in your shoes doesn't mean that we can't have felt what you have felt. Again, there's only so many emotions. On top of that, if you really want to help us out further, you can always go to mimental.net/donate. There's a number of ways you could donate. There's subscription services. There's just one-time donations. And we also have a merchandise store with some merchandise. Woohoo! We're being told to mask up again. And guess what? We have a mask. it's pretty sick. I like it a lot. It's
convenient.
Yeah. But definitely, check us out. Help us out. We know that you guys are amazing. You're the best listeners ever. We love you guys. Already the chat room is hopping tonight. But we have a special setup tonight. We have two guests. We have mother and daughter. Go ahead and say hi.
Hi.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're talking about?
Hey, this was your idea, kid.
So, how do I go about it?
Okay. So she came to me after I was speaking to her about Am I Mental, and then actually really kind of cramming things down her throat with a lot of mental health stuff because I'm going through my own journey. And she was like, hey, I have this really good idea. I think you should see if we could go on as us, me and her, and talk about her dad being in and out of prison and jail for multiple different things up until she was about 8 years old, and how we dealt with that as a family, and how it affected her mentally, and how she dealt with him and myself because of it, and how it affected me, and how I dealt with her and him because of it, and so on and so forth.
Right, and of course, as the teaser says on the blast I sent out, and also the name of the episode, it was Mafia, Cartels, and
I guess so.
Yeah.
That all comes in at the very beginning of the story, so that's what everything basically kind of spins off of, because that's where everything went wrong.
Yeah, and I will say when I read what you sent me, my jaw came unhinged and I practically shit myself. So I had to do a Zoom meeting with the co-hosts because I wanted to see their jaws drop open too, and it was priceless.
I'm glad we can provide.
So yeah, no, so yeah, why don't you just go ahead and start? Yeah, when it all started falling apart.
So, all right. So it actually all started when I was pregnant. So and I can make my way through this chunk of the story pretty gosh darn quick because I mean I've actually told it about 1.5 million times. But it knocks people's socks off every time. So now it's, instead of a point of pain, it's kind of become a point of entertainment for me at times. I don't know how you feel about a kid, but for me, I've gotten past it and I'm like, dude, shit happens in life, man. Check this out. So I found out I was pregnant when I was 3 days before my 21st birthday. Everything with me and her father was actually doing okay. We weren't in a great spot with him and I, but there wasn't any drugs involved. There wasn't any like bad stuff involved. It was just normal like relationship stuff. You know how it goes, especially like 20, 21, 22-year-old relationship stuff. We don't know what the fuck's going on. So I found out I was pregnant. That actually is a whole like different story there. I went and told my mom, and I actually wasn't planning on having kiddo. Ooh, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought. Anyway,
Yeah,
Your
it's
name
different
drop.
when you're not just talking to me.
it's gonna be easy for you because you always call me mom.
I told
Yeah,
you.
so we're adding that to the calendar. We do have another name drop here.
We do?
Didn't you just drop your the name or no?
No.
Almost.
Okay, almost. Sorry,
Not
I was
yet.
I was busy.
Nobody
Someone
did
was
yet, man. Nobody did yet.
sorry. Someone was asking
Not
for
yet.
about the face mask, so I put a link in the chat. So I was a little distracted.
You're good.
So yeah. So I wasn't actually planning on having my daughter. Sorry if I offend anybody saying I was planning on having an abortion, but I was planning on having an abortion. I wasn't ready. And then actually when I told my mother that, after being told my entire life that, like, once I had gotten on birth control, no matter what happens, we'll back you up. I told my mom what I was planning on, and she actually stopped talking to me. She looked at my sister. She said, "You fucking deal with this. I'm done." And she walked out. And she actually didn't talk to me for about 2 weeks.
Wow. So that was basically sounds like we'll go ahead and back you as long as we agree with your decision.
Yeah.
Right.
So actually, at one point, I had tried to call them, and I won't say where because that's a dead giveaway to who I am. But I had tried to contact them at their place of work. And I would get like hung up on. And so at one point in time, I actually called, and she was the person who answered. And I was like, "Don't hang up, I'm having a baby." And she was like, "Oh, well, why?" And I was like, "Come on." You want to know why? Like, let's think about it. And I did. I was like, because if I don't, I lose my family. And if I do, I keep my family. And that's kind of like, what it breaks down to. So went through that.
So Mackenzie, that was close. Too close.
So close.
I thought you don't do it.
Nearly there.
Wait. Your kids what?
My kids are awesome. They're doing good. I had a doctor's appointment today, actually, and had to do some labs with the youngest.
Huh?
Had to do the labs with the youngest, and, so I was going to say, my kids, we went through IVF. Daughter, how does it feel to know that you were almost aborted?
At first, it was very emotional. But then I was like, you know what? I kind of get it. And that's how our relationship was growing up a lot. Like, she was very open with everything. She was very straight up about situations. She didn't lie about any part of my entire childhood. When I asked a question, she told me the honest to God answer.
That's awesome.
And so, like, when it came to that, I asked her. And she was like, you really want to know the truth? Like, you know how our relationship is. You asked, I'm going to tell you. And she was like, I wasn't in the position where I was actually ready for it. And so, like, for her to actually admit that, that was a big thing because a lot of people don't know how to admit that they knew they weren't ready.
Right. Yeah. And I found out that I was an accident. I'm the my mom asked my dad, hey, so when do you want to have kids and start a family? My dad said, probably after I'm 26. And then my mom was like, well, how about in like 7 or 8 months or so? Because, yeah.
Okay.
And meanwhile, we have
Also-
Missy saying, oh, go for it,
Yeah.
Steve.
I was just about to say, Misty says, my dad asked my mom to abort me. I appreciate the honesty in this experience. Vern says most people are accidents, E.
Most people are.
Most people are. At least the firstborns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the case of my dad's side of the family, the last two were, when women get older, they start going through this permanent change with their bodies, and oh shit, a baby. Okay,
You get a hormone dump. You get a hormone dump.
Yeah, women start going through this change at a certain time. Oh shit, another baby. Third time, dear God, please be the change this time, and it was.
Another baby. Yeah, no, I was the oops. I guess we're having a third.
It's okay. The doctor said I was a cis, so it's fine.
Well, you did kind of grow on us. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah. So I guess we're all, I guess you could say accidents.
We're all
We are.
beautiful accidents.
I was
Look,
just about to say
we're
that.
happy
Beautiful
little
accident.
accidents.
I might
Happy
have
little
to,
accidents.
I might have to change the name of the episode at the end of this to Happy Little Accidents.
That's the group name.
I freaking love it.
I approve.
Yeah. And you were pretty young when you asked me.
I was very young when I asked you.
Yeah.
And it was a
okay.
lot because we were going through a very rough patch in our relationship. Like, we were just starting the whole teenage daughter mom stuff that every family goes through. And so, like, for me to ask you that during a period of, like, a good time, and then you were straight up, I was like, you got me in my heart. Okay. And it was
Damn,
hard
Mom,
because,
right in
like,
my feels.
yeah, because, like, we already had the whole dad situation, and then, after a time of understanding that and realizing it and what it meant in and of itself, like, if you decided to go through with that, all of these situations with dad probably would have never happened. And so, like, I get it because it would have been a better childhood for either me or the next baby you would have had during that situation. But, like, you had me, and I'm here, so thank you.
Damn it, man. Look, you made my life all good and shit, you little bitch.
No, it's amazing. It's wonderful.
How dare you make my life better? God damn it.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
no.
actually, we were talking about that the other day, how if I hadn't had her, I would have gone to jail with her father. So,
You're the get out of jail free card.
she told me, well, yeah, she was my get out of jail free card. She was my get your shit together, you idiot card. So she was one of them, at least.
Well,
And
my ex-wife, her, my oldest, not biologically my oldest, but I entered his life when he was 13 months old. He's still in my life today, even though we've been divorced for 15, 16 years now. Got her. She was about to go down the road of meth, and he woke up early from his nap and was standing on the side of the crib. And first time he said "mama," and she never went down that road because of that.
yeah, babies are good things.
They really are.
They save a lot of people. Not everyone, but they do save a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, if we got to be honest, not everyone. But they do save a lot of. Hi, kiddo.
Yeah.
They do save a lot of people. Speaking of
Yeah.
babies.
Yes.
Sometimes
Yeah. So.
Oh, what were you gonna say, C?
I was gonna say sometimes having like a child isn't enough. Like something that you love dearly. You know.
Well, you got to do it for
Sometimes.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm gonna actually go on a trip this weekend to go see my firstborn, and see her daughter, my firstborn granddaughter.
Really?
Yes,
Aw.
I finally get to meet her.
Oh, that's exciting.
I am like
Awesome.
over the moon with
I
excitement.
hear that. I hear, man, just
Being a grandparent is like the greatest.
it is.
Because you're like having fun, you stink. Here, this is yours. Take it.
That's what she did.
I cannot wait to load her full of sugar and turn her into a little devil and be like, karma, induced karma.
Yep, and it's like our kids didn't really. Yeah, I mean, you see, your grandparents did that to us, so we are gonna do it to you. You are gonna do it to your kids. It's a hand-me-down system. It's a
It just works.
fucked up cycle, but goddamn, it's fun.
It's so damaging.
Family
but
traditions.
So rewarding.
I like the time that my grandparents gave me Belgian waffles a la mode with whipped cream and any syrup that we wanted. And as soon as we were done eating, dropped us back off at my parents' house. And my sister and I have went through complete and total sugar meltdown. And my parents were pissed.
I never had to deal with that crap. What I had to deal with is I said, no, you can't have it. And then coming home and being like, where'd you get that? I said, no, you can't have it.
See, since I couldn't play the sides of parents, I could play the sides of grandparent and mom.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like they
all
loved
the way
me.
to the
They
point
felt
where
bad for me every time, and they were just like, "I love you. Here you go."
All the way
I
to
couldn't
the
say
point where
no.
I came home
That
to
would be
a
so
car in my
disrespectful of
driveway.
me to say no.
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Oh,
And
the child.
Richard just commented, grandparents are a baby's first bad influence. You better believe it.
I can't wait.
It's like when you have kids, you're like, you can't try certain foods until a certain age, blah, 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 blah. Have a grandkid, it's like, here, want to taste some chocolate ice cream? A little fingertip. Boop.
That was her.
Trying to talk you into at the hotel.
That was her.
I was trying to talk her.
No,
into,
she was
like,
trying
dude,
to do
just
a peanut
soda.
M&M.
Soda. No, it was soda. It was like
Oh.
a tiny little itty bitty. Like, can I just give her a tiny taste? Just like a little.
And the moment you turn,
tiny and little.
and then you're gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna go back to the hotel. Like, I'm gonna go get seconds from like the continental buffet, and that's when the mom goes, here you go, little soda for you. And you come,
Exactly.
and then you come back and you see the baby's eyes are just lit up and doing the whole.
Almost like a dog in trouble. I didn't do anything, but man, nothing is so delicious.
Yeah, it's like you're the dog in trouble. The other one's the baby's a dog with peanut butter.
Oh my god, it's awesome. I love it.
I like the saying that I heard, which is, grandchildren are your opportunity to make up for your past mistakes with your kids.
Yeah, maybe. I like that. Because God knows we screwed up.
Yep. But my grandfather taught me, anytime you step on an ant, you say, damn ant. My parents were thrilled with that. But I don't know why my dad was complaining too much. I was 3 years old and he was teaching me how to shoot craps. So...
My mom was giving me beer.
Oh, apparently I used to go walking around saying more beer, more beer, more beer, and I just get a little sip, little sip, little sip. Well, eventually, if you're at a party and they're not paying attention to how much they're giving you,
You just grab it, dude.
I don't know who. I still don't know if I puked on my dad or if I puked on my uncle. They both say I puked on the other one, but apparently I fire hose because I was so hammered.
Like, straight up.
Yeah.
Like, before even kindergarten, because my parents used to go and play cards. They used to go play Millborn. All right, I don't know if
I love Millborn.
Okay, dude, mom and dad used to
I
go
don't
play
know what
Millborn.
Me
It is
neither. Don't worry.
It's a French card game. All the cards are in French. So it's like,
Yeah.
you look at it and go, hey, stop, I know that one.
And I think it means something like 500 miles or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And all the cards have to do with mileage and traveling and this, but it's
a
But
fun
Mom and
game.
Dad, yeah,
Okay.
don't look at me like that. Anyway, Mom and Dad used to go and play Newborn and like just sit there and drink and drink and drink with their friends. And by the time they get tossed enough, they're just putting beer down. They don't know where the hell it is. And I'm 4 or 5 years old. Like, oh, I like that because kids like yeast. They like the taste of yeast.
Yeah,
And so
that makes sense.
she's kind of cute, huh?
Yes. Everybody's missing it. The baby's now in the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so, yeah, babies like yeast.
Yes. So beer has a lot of yeast in it. You end up, it wasn't like a, I want to get drunk thing. Kids like beer.
They do.
Like yeast.
They really do.
Tastes good. And then
So, that was one hell of a tangent.
totally. Back to being pregnant because, like, she hasn't been born yet. All right, we're in like
we're already 20 minutes in.
But I'm proud of myself because I remember where we were. All right. So yeah. So let's see. Pregnancy. We'll start like skipping through some stuff. Pregnancy was easy as far as physically, was very rough mentally. So he started getting involved in a lot of things that he shouldn't have been getting involved with. So he started he went on this kind of mental breakdown using the reasoning. I won't say excuse. I'll use reasoning. Using the reasoning that his dad left when he was young. He doesn't know how to be a dad. He reverted into this life of doing and dealing methamphetamines that was, and I'm speculating on a lot of this, was, I feel, a comfortable place for him to go and run and hide. And it,
Too bad we couldn't get him on this episode to get his side of the story.
It would have been an
sure
interesting episode.
I guarantee you. Well, okay. So yeah, I had told daughter that I was going to toss a disclaimer before I started in here. Keep in mind, everybody, that these are my viewpoints.
Yeah.
And of course,
He would
talk,
not agree.
Because these are my truths and how I see it.
And daughter's truths when she speaks it.
Yeah. And please also understand that a lot of my understanding of what he was doing has come from me piecing things together from outside sources.
And some have seen it yourself.
Yeah, but it's like a collaboration of a whole bunch of different things. So it makes it for an odd approach, I guess you could say. But anyway, so pregnancy with her was easy. I wasn't sick. I wasn't any of that. But he started dipping into this world of dealing drugs and doing a lot of drugs and moving a lot of drugs. And through the experience and experiences and people I got to know as we go through this story, I learned that a lot of this drug dealing had to do with playing one side with the Mafia and one side with the cartel, which are two different sides that you don't want to play on. You just want to pick one. And if you're going to have to pick something. I mean, if you're going to pick something stupid.
You don't want to pick none, but like...
Right. I was just going to say,
thing,
I'm
all right?
pretty sure you don't want to pick either.
It's like shit or crap. Same thing.
Yeah, so it was this, from what I have gathered, it was this playing between multiple different, facets and this and that, okay? And, okay, so now we'll go back to me being pregnant, and there was a lot of time spent alone, There was a lot of the phone ringing until 3 o'clock in the morning. There was a lot of random people showing up at the house. There was a lot of me being very, very, very blind and knowing exactly what was going on, but claiming that I didn't know what was going on because I hadn't seen it. Because I was just madly in love with the dude.
Love blinders.
100%. I mean, just... And you know, love conquers all.
Including your own sense of, well-being and protection.
And that was really my thing. If I love people enough, I can fix them. I've learned, obviously, but, like, I was young, and this was, like, my first true love. And now I have a baby coming into this, and,
I can fix it.
And all these ties, and it makes it really hard to separate it all out. It really does. And so I go through pregnancy with him, like taking my car, taking off for days at a time. I'm walking to work, pregnant as hell in this cute, ruffly, black, yellow, pink, and green Mexican outfit, if you know what I mean, E.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm walking down the street in this cute little outfit with my coochie hanging out because my pregnant belly is so goddamn big that the skirt doesn't cover my hoo-ha. All right, but let me tell you, I made some tips. Okay.
I bet you did.
Straight up, I had people either loving me or feeling bad for me. Either way, I got their money.
Oh my God, she's so poor she can't get right clothing. Here's some money. Dude, there's her hoo-ha. Here's some money.
So, let's see. And then... he was, in, out, all over the goddamn place at that point in time. And this was the time of pagers. They start inducing me to have daughter. Okay, so they start inducing me to have Mackenzie. There it was! Damn it.
Name drop.
Damn.
Happy in the rain.
Oh, no.
Damn.
Oh, Otis, I know. I screwed up, buddy. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, so they start inducing me to have shit finger. And they induced me 5 times because they didn't think that she was growing. And I actually had my mother and my best friend in the hospital with me that entire time. He was out running around playing his games and doing his shit. And then when my water finally broke and I was going to actually have her, like my water had been broken for 23 hours. They induced me 5 times. Okay. I was dilated to 3.5 for 5 weeks. Like this was a journey in and of itself. That was neat.
And let me guess, you're having the mild contractions, which suck. Or were you having full blown the whole time?
Oh no, I was having, so they started me on the first time they did it, okay, let's even back up on that because you know where we grew up, okay?
Yeah.
Do you want to know how they got her to turn?
Okay.
I got acupuncture in the hospital. Straight up, all right? Yeah, so I got
They offered acupuncture when they went to implant for my wife, for both of the kids, for IVF.
Yeah.
But to get a baby to turn, acupuncture?
It was
really?
amazing.
Did it
was
work?
amazing. It
Okay.
worked 100%.
Okay.
It worked they put needles, they put tiny needles with incense on them in the hospital room in my baby toes. And at 3 o'clock in the morning, I felt her go whoop and do what she was supposed to do.
And then you looked at that and went, holy shit, there's something to this.
Boom! I was like, bam, Easter medicine, let's do it.
It seems so random. Like I would have never thought about that. Like doing acupuncture.
Well, at the same time,
doctor.
At the same time, like it could have been completely coincidental, but
yeah.
Yeah, but like my doctor, because she's offered it, I guess, to 1 million patients and nobody ever took it. Let me tell you what. She's like, here's your choices. We can try acupuncture, or I can go in there and manually turn this baby. And that is intensely painful. And I was like, let's try acupuncture.
You're like, let's try the not painful option.
Worst comes to worst, we can do that last.
It's really painful. I'm like, let's go the other route.
I saw
You
baby
know,
face.
like, so I did, and poof. And she's calling all these doctors, I told you it works. I told you. And I'm like, cool shit.
You're like, that's cool, but can we get the party going here?
Placing bets on if it worked or not.
Oh, my word. So, yeah, so let's see.
And for people that are unaware, when the water breaks, they give you 24 hours to push the baby out or they're cutting out.
I was on 23.
Yeah. Because the risk of infection starts going up exponentially after the 24th hour.
Because you just dry out completely.
Yep. And it's not just the baby that's at risk of infection.
It's mama, too.
Yep. And the kind of infection you're going to get, it's one of those ones that it can and will kill mama and baby. It's nasty. So, yeah, it
turns into sepsis.
Yep. They do not fuck around with that.
Yeah. So I was on hour 23, actually. And she looked at me. She was like, we can wait another hour or we can go in there and get this thing out. And I'm like, could we have, like, just got it out, like, 5 weeks ago? Like, straight up. Could you not have just dove in then and been like, boom, since you're cutting me open at the end of it anyway? Like, we could have saved 5 weeks of my life.
It's like, honestly, the recovery time from a C-section is a little bit less.
Oh, but let me tell you what, man, with the situation I was in, I milked up all 4 days in that hospital. I'm not joking. On the next day, they were like, you can go home if you want. I was like, hell no. No. I ain't going home to that shit. You're out of your fucking mind. I'm staying right here.
Yeah, I could see that.
And I did. I stayed there for 4 days because I knew I could, and I was comfortable, and I had help. I was like, no.
Life was stable for 4 days.
You go do your shit, dude. I'm like, I got help here, and the house was crazy. Like, there were, I will just say there were multiple people living in a 2-bedroom home, like, including sleeping on living room floors and other things. So, like, yeah, to have a hospital room to be in for a couple days and be like, I'm fucking good. Yeah, good shit. So to have her, though, I actually ended up having to page him and be like, motherfucker, we having a baby. Come show up.
Oh, this is before the days of cell phones being ubiquitous. This is back in the pager day.
Yeah, I legit had to 911 page him.
Yep. Beep, 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 beep.
Okay, and keep in mind, who had pagers?
Mainly drug dealers. Well, drug dealers, doctors, and sports stars.
Right? So I had to page him. He showed up, scrubbed up, came in, held my hand throughout the ordeal, stuck around for a little bit, and I got to take off. He took off. Let's see. Where do we end up from there? So I'm kind of raising a kid on my own because he's out doing his runaround. I mean, there's points in time that I have to go to work. I'm the chick working, so I have to go to work. And I think I went back to work about 6 weeks after she was born or so. So I'm like, I got to go back to work. I start working again. And there's points in time that, like, he's not even home to watch her when I need him to watch her. I legitimately, like, find him in, like, Tweakerville fucking trailers, passed out with his hands on some other chick's ass, like, slapped him awake from that one. Like, there were experiences throughout all of it. Let's see, where can we go from there?
Yeah, you're like, I slapped him awake with that one, and I'm like, could be a hand, could be a fly swatter, could be something worse.
No.
Slapped, air quotes.
Yeah. I did the slap across the face, you son of a bitch, get the fuck up, get home and watch your daughter.
You wanted that sensation on your hand of, yeah.
Well, I kind of included get your hands off that whore's ass as well.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're a little angry. And I remember showing up at the door, and like I said, no names, but, like, chick who owns the place opens the door. She looks at me, and I was like, is so-and-so here? And she kind of looks behind her, and dude who's hanging out with them looks around the corner, looks at me, chuckles, and goes, let her in. And I'm like, oh, all right, let's do it. So Yeah, so stuff like that happened. And then we'll fast forward to 9 months old. She's 9 months old. I have moved out by that time. There's points in time that he always carried this backpack. Okay, this backpack. I'm not going to say what brand of backpack, but he always carried this backpack. And this backpack always had his shit in it. All right, and his scale, it always had his shit in it. And I remember going into a room of the house at one point in time, and he had passed out with a glass meth pipe in his hand, and I got pissed. And I walked in and I threw it into the wall. And that was one of the very, very few times he ever got physical with me. He chucked me into the wall, and I came back at him, and I kicked him in the kidneys, and it was just a fucking mess. Yeah. As I'm sitting here really going through all this stuff, I'm like, wow, there was a lot of shit. Sorry, sweetheart, if you don't know about a lot of this.
A lot of dysfunction, but hey, you know what?
Well,
Meth
it kind of
does
starts
that.
to explain up into where he gets put away, and then her life and how it starts working into our daughter's life.
I mean, it sounds like he was, not only was he selling, but he was smoking the profits.
Oh, like fucking crazy. Like crazy. And I'm going to be honest, he's a really nice guy. He was just a drug addict.
Yeah, not all addicts are bad people. They just made a very bad choice.
He just made a lot of bad choices, dude. He didn't know what to fucking do. He didn't know where he was. He didn't have fantastic influences in his life necessarily, and he made some bad fucking choices just at really shitty times. And then you throw
young adult all of a sudden has to be a dad.
That's what I'm saying. You throw that on top of it and panic. Like, people deal with being quote unquote cornered in different ways. Some fight, some flight. And in this case, flight was I'm running to drugs and the thing that makes me comfortable. And fight for me was I can't fucking do that. I gotta be a mommy.
Well, there is also a third option: deer in headlights.
Freeze. Yep.
Yeah, there is.
And that one is just about as bad as flight.
Yeah.
Actually, it could be worse because you don't do anything.
Yeah. The indecision that just keeps you still.
Yeah, it's kind of like that whole thing of, it doesn't matter if you go to the left side of the road or the right side of the road. When you're in the middle of the road, just make a choice.
Right. Hey, muted daughter. I'm sure you're dealing with children and dogs, but I just saw you.
Hey,
you got anything to say in here?
My dog likes to
about childhood that you don't remember.
You said what?
I said, you got anything to say in here while I'm rambling on about childhood that you don't remember?
No, I remember talking about all of this, and I remember all of these stories, but I wasn't born to remember part of this. And 2, I was under a year old. So, all of that, I wouldn't really be able to remember unless, something really, 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 really triggering, caused that to happen. But I dealt with it for 8 years.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Meanwhile, Richard just said...
That's why I'm letting you just do you. I remember this.
Richard just said, Muted Daughter sounds like a cool indie jazz band name.
It totally does.
It really does.
I love it. That's awesome. All right, so I guess I will continue on to the car accident.
Yeah.
Because that's when shit really, really, really started turning south. It hadn't already gone south, but it was kind of going southeast. And then it was boom, we're gonna go south.
It's it's already nosing downwards. Now we're gonna cut the engines and just go straight to the fucking earth.
Totally.
Yeah.
We were at the southeast position, and now it was wavering, and now it's fuck it, we're gonna go. So I am. Let's see.
Missy just said, "Wait, it gets worse."
Oh, honey, welcome to
this
my
is
life.
the tip of it.
Don't even know. You don't even know. You wait.
Strap
You
in.
fucking
This is going to get good.
No, actually, I think there's shit that's going to come up in this that you don't know about. Like, I'm going to totally enjoy watching faces here.
Yeah, because you told me a lot about everything growing up. So,
Yeah.
But now it's like my dad on my my bachelor party, my first wedding. He was my best man. And we actually wound up having a bachelorette mixer. We were just like, you know what? We're going to spend our whole lives together. We don't want to be apart tonight. Let's party together. And my dad had told me a lot of stories about my birth because, like, there was a medical emergency and we lived, I'll just say the county seat is where my parents lived at the time.
Okay.
In 1977, you know how they tried to stop contractions? Alcohol drips. My mom went through 2 liters of alcohol trying to stop the contractions because placenta previa was going to kill her and me. And I was really early. And they basically would do the whole thing, turn the drip up until my mom passed out, then turn it down until she woke up, turn it back up until she passed out. Just trying to get the contractions to stop. And it took... You see, their obstetrician went on vacation because he's like, well, baby's not due for like 6-7 weeks.
Right? Surprise!
Right. The covering doctor came in to the ER and said, you need to airlift this woman up to, Medford. And the ER doctor said, you're not their doctor. You can't make that call. And this guy looks over at my dad and says, see that guy there? When she dies and the child dies on this table, you're going to have to deal with him kicking your ass. Immediately called for the helicopter.
Right?
But it wasn't until that night that my dad went into full detail about the entire thing from beginning to end and filled in so many blanks. And I have a feeling that's what you're about to get, daughter. It is amazing. So here we go. Strap yourselves in, because I think Mother is about to really hit the gas pedal. Yeah, the car's warmed up. The tires have gone through the burnout. Now it's time to drag race.
Like a roller coaster.
Actually, we have quite a ways to go until I actually move, which is only when she is like 18 months old. There's a lot of shit crammed into a very small amount of relative time. So
what you're saying is we might have to do a 2-parter.
And I might be able. I can probably bust through this.
All right, let's go.
All right. So 9 months old. Okay. 9 months old. She's 9 months old. I believe I had already moved out. It's a little bit foggy, but I think I had already moved out. But I still obviously needed somebody to watch my daughter when I was working, and that was Dad. So Dad was watching daughter, and I'm working at the place that I'm working. And while I'm working, I get this, like, I hear the phone ring, and I hear the person I'm working with pick up the phone and do the whole hello gig. And all of a sudden I'm like, fuck, something's wrong. Like, I just, like that sixth sense
that feeling
actually accurate. All of a sudden I'm like, that's for me and something's wrong. And so I look up and I look over because I'm looking through one portion and the phone's right there. And she looks up and she's like, it's for you. And I'm like, okay. And I get on and it's him. And all he says is, I'm so sorry. And I can hear her screaming in the background. Screaming in the background. And I didn't ask him what happened, actually. I looked up and I said, you fucking totaled my car, didn't you? And he goes, yeah, I did. Bad. The helicopter's on the way.
Fuck.
And okay. All right. He says, please meet us at the hospital. I said, okay. So I look at the person I'm working with and I'm like, sorry, chickie, I gotta go, man. My kid and him are going to the fucking hospital. So
please tell me you had that helicopter sticker on your car.
What helicopter sticker?
From when we lived up. This is our shared town, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was an insurance policy you could get where you got the helicopter ride for free if you paid. It was like $100 a year.
Nope. No.
So if they saw that sticker, they wouldn't hesitate to call the helicopter.
No.
Because, I mean, we were, hour, 2 hours away from a level 1 trauma facility, except by air.
And they ended up in town, at the hospital in town. But this was by
This was a little south.
this was by
Is this by that town known for its trains?
this was in between. This was a place everybody went. There was a hill over here.
That
and
in the
a city
falls.
that everybody went to over there, and it was that. I see you understanding where I'm at. Okay, so
I think
yes,
so.
okay. So yeah, he totaled the car on right about there on one of the curves. What had happened before I even get into what happens at the hospital? Ooh, okay, so what had happened is he rolled the car 3 times. But hold up, it gets fucking better than that. Of course it gets better than that. Why wouldn't it? So when I say...
Okay, now if you go down a cliff, I can understand 3 times. But how the fuck...
Wait, no, hold up a fucking second.
All right.
Because it actually gets worse. Because when I say rolled a car, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking...
Oh, wait. Are you...
rolled a car sideways, right? That's what you're thinking.
Are you
Is that what you're
are you
fucking
saying
thinking?
nose to end,
Yeah,
nose
that's
to
what you're
end?
thinking. I'm saying he hit a fucking rock going about 70 fucking miles an hour. It hit the tire and he actually went nose over end 3 times and crumpled the entire fucking
Holy
top.
shit!
Okay.
There's
When
a
I had to
newspaper.
go and claim
from-
my belongings out of that fucking car, the only door that would open was the driver's side door because all of the roof was caved in on all of the other fucking doors. And you know what vehicle I used to drive. That's a hard vehicle to fucking destroy. Okay? So, as I'm fucking going off on this tangent because I can't stop to say what actually saved her ass. All right? We might not all believe in God and divine beings and this and that and the other, but let me tell you what, this kid has come close enough to dying enough times and come back that there's something fucking out there protecting people. Because the only thing that saved her fucking ass, we had an open back to that vehicle, and when it rolled, everything that was in that open back went flying.
Didn't you just say what the car was?
Okay. She being 9 months old is in
Yeah,
a
you could-
hard-backed car seat.
Say what the
Alright.
car was so people have a better idea.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be able to identify your car.
Yeah, it's a Jeep Cherokee. It's an 89 Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah, Jeeps. It doesn't matter what model, make, whatever. Jeeps are not soft vehicles. They are tough vehicles.
Especially back then.
Yeah.
Especially back then. And there's no partition between the quote-unquote trunk of the car and the back seats in the front of the car. So if you have stuff in the very back of the car and you roll it, that goes
Yeah,
everywhere.
just like any SUV
Okay.
or minivan.
Yeah, exactly. So when this rolled, her seatbelt released. Okay.
What?
And yeah, check this shit out. You're gonna fucking love this one. You know how the front is set up, right? So you have the jockey box in the middle with the 2 bucket seats, right?
Yeah.
Her seatbelt released, her car seat flipped over and wedged right in between the 2 seats with the hard back facing up. So absolutely nothing touched my kid.
That is a miracle.
Thank you. Okay, that's miracle number 1. We'll get to the other one down the road.
We got a couple.
Oh no.
down the road here because there's 2 more coming up for her.
You know what, daughter? Maybe it's a good thing that you don't remember this.
Yeah, all of it happened before my memory could even like actually process anything. So I'm kind of thankful because the rest of my childhood was like pretty smooth sailing.
See, but this all has to come in so we know how he got put away because this is actually how he ends up getting put away.
Yeah.
So it all
But, like,
it all
gets
starts
worse.
with I'm going to abort you.
Oh my god, I should not be laughing about that at all.
What can I say? I have good comedic timing.
But I'm bumped,
Yep. But seriously, that's where it started.
right? And then this is like,
And Missy put it well. She
this
was
is a-
meant to fucking be here.
okay, do you know
Thank you.
how many times I told her, God saved your ass for a reason, do something fucking good?
You probably heard that your whole life.
All my life.
Yeah.
No
Well,
pressure.
There's a couple more times, so like
Yeah, no
just
pressure.
the meaning behind it.
Well, because we laugh at funerals too. The other one is, motherfucker, I tried to give you back and he wouldn't take you.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'd just be like, "Shut up."
Were you guys laughing at a funeral? No, we were really emotional. Our crying sounds like laughter.
Right. Oh, that's where the tough skin comes from on her, though. I'm an asshole.
I'm proudly an asshole.
I'll badge it, man. Let me tell you what. I actually have a shirt that says "Assholes live forever."
They do.
So, yeah. So let's see. So car accident. Yeah. So car accident. So
My car seat flipping was the only thing that
car
saved
seat
me.
flips. It gets wedged in between the two bucket seats. Everything falls on back on the hard top, and I meet them at the hospital. Okay.
And probably the falls on the seat where daughter was initially sitting before the seatbelt released.
Yeah.
It was
absolutely.
all accordion. Like, that entire side was to the floor, and the driver's side was the only part that was fully popped up almost.
Like the and she knows because she's seen the newspaper pictures of it.
I want to see this picture, if you don't mind. I won't share it, but I want to see
I'll
it.
tell you what, if I
My
find
grandparents have it.
Yeah, I have a copy of it somewhere. They gave it to me. If I find it, actually, I think I might have given it to you.
It
You
might
didn't give
be
it to
in all
me.
my boxes. They have it at our college.
They have it at the college.
Yeah, they have it at our college.
Ooh.
It's in the library.
Ooh.
The more you know.
Right?
So, yeah, so I walk down to the hospital. It's only a couple miles from work, and I walk in, and I walk up to her, I walk into the ER, and I hear her screaming, and they have her boarded. You know, they have her tied down
Precautionary.
to a board so they can do x-rays and all that shit and make sure everything is okay before we find out that everything's okay. And I'm like, okay, and I hand her over to them, and they go take care of her.
Look at it from the medical perspective. The car seat was not where it was supposed to be. How much force was used and exerted, and what's the chances that baby has some serious injuries?
She had a bloody nose.
You were
Legit.
so damn lucky.
She had a bloody nose.
You were so damn lucky.
That's
She had a
it?
bloody nose. That's it. Yeah, no joke, huh? Yeah, straight up. She had a bloody nose.
You know what?
Bro, you got like a guardian angel or something, dude. Like
Literally.
Or you gotta, or some demon owns your soul, but you have to be a certain age first. I don't, Anyway.
RNG Jesus has been so good to you.
Now that's a gamer term there. So Missy did say when you can laugh at things that have happened, that's usually is evidence it's been worked through.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because, but Kat had to ask, was he drunk or just a reckless driver?
It gets better.
Okay.
There's more.
Shit.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh god.
No, he wasn't drunk. No, he wasn't drunk. There's not 100% knowledge of what happened. I can tell you what I assumed happened. We know that there was a very large amount of methamphetamines in his system.
That's what I was thinking.
I know from his behavior and how much he was doing, my assumption is he probably nodded off. Okay. Which I know. Okay, so listen.
Yeah, eventually you are up for too long.
I was going to say, if you've never done meth, you're going to be like, yeah, nod it off. Here's the deal, dude. You keep up your body can't stay up. All right? It can't. You can fight it as much as you want to. You can sit there and snort a rail or smoke a bowl, but if your body's done, your body's done.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've never tried meth. I have too addictive a personality. I know that I would be trapped. But I have talked to people who have done like the 7-day tweaks, and they're like, yeah, eventually there's just not enough meth in the world to keep you awake.
I mean, legit, you could just sit in a room all day smoking, and you're eventually, the second you stop, you're going to, you're just done. I mean, that's why I found him in a room with a pipe in his hand. He passed out mid-smoking. You know, like, when you're done, your body's like, I'm going to override all your shit, dude. I need a break.
Yep.
So that's my assumption. As I said, I get to the hospital. I hug her on a board, and I hand her over for X-rays. And I'm like, okay, where the fuck is he? And so I walk in.
Is he alive? Because I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I walk into they take me into another one of the emergency rooms, you know what I mean, the curtained off areas.
Oh yeah, I know that ER pretty well.
And,
Been there a couple of times.
he's laying there, and his neck is like, okay, so he has got whiplash like nobody's, and I'm like, I hope that's not that motherfucker.
The hand gesture. If you ever read The Stand,
Right?
yeah, the disease caused like a tire neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Captain Trips,
yep, Captain Trips, tube neck. They had a few names for it.
super flu.
Yeah,
But yeah.
but yeah,
So,
the hand gesture put the thing out about mid-shoulder.
It was, I'm telling you, it was like you walked in and you were like, damn, dude, something fucking happened to you. You know, like
head was smaller than the neck.
It was really bad. And I didn't give a fuck, actually, because legit, it was straight up, I'm pissed off. So I walk in, I see him, and I'm like, well, damn. And I looked at him, I was like, what the fuck happened? And then so I walk in, and there's like a wall over on the right-hand side when you walk in the door, and he's in the bed right in front of me. And so I didn't even look over on this wall on the right-hand side. And I walk in, and I'm like, motherfucker, wop, wop, wop. And then I turn around, and lo and behold, there's two police officers with your backpack right between them. What the fuck are they doing here? Right? So
I mean, first responders.
So I look at two police officers with said backpack in between them, both of them standing with their arms crossed, which doesn't look like a first responder stance.
That sounds like, hey, we did a talk screen and the police need to get here now.
All right. And so
You're fucked, basically.
I bet I know the officers.
I did. And I look at him, I'm like, all right, what'd you find in the backpack?
Like, hey, Mike, hi, Adam. What's going on?
But no, legit, I'm like, what'd you find in the backpack? And they look at me and they go, well, how'd you know we found anything in the backpack? I'm like, dude, he is here after a car accident. You're there with his backpack in between you. All of my powers of fucking figuring things out say there's something in the backpack which requires you two to be standing there. I am the mother of the child, so tell me what the fuck is in the backpack. And they're like, well, what do you think's in the backpack? I'm like, well, I assume something illegal is in the backpack.
I mean, duh.
Right.
Exactly.
At that point in time, we didn't have like weights or anything, but they let me know we found methamphetamines in the backpack. There's a scale in there. He's in trouble for shipping and weighed out for sales.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I mean, if it was methamphetamine and just a big wad or whatever, like a big one bag, okay, yeah, that could still be considered personal use. But once you have that scale, once you have it measured out, you are fucked beyond belief.
Even if it's not measured out, even if you have baggies. If you have baggies.
Yep. Anything that could hint at distribution or sales, you are fucked.
You're confused. You're totally fucked. So, okay. So she's okay. I take her back to the house. He ends up going to the county seat. And is down there, and I'm still madly in love with this motherfucker somehow. I don't know how, really, even though I've moved out and everything else. And so he goes in with that. All right. I find out it's like ounces. It's not like a little bit. It's like a good 4+ ounces of shit. Some of it previously weighed in bags, some of it not, but he has got some shit. And I'm like, awesome, great. So they actually let him out on OR. And if you don't know what OR is, that's your own recognizance. That means that you promise to be a good person and a good upstanding citizen and show up for your court dates and not break the law. It also means that you're open to search and seizure in your house for absolutely any reason whatsoever. They do not need a warrant. It also, like, there's a lot of shit that goes into it.
Yeah, they could just show up. They could show up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, and bail is not involved. It's okay. We're going to give you this fucking chance.
Yeah, and this is usually like, this is your first time fucking up.
Okay, so this is, now keep in mind, with the amount that he had, there are like a handful of felonies, plus child endangerment, plus driving under the influence. Okay,
Plus
so we've
speeding,
already...
plus, I mean, the list goes on.
We already have what I'll call a small handful of charges, all right? We're going to refer to this as a small handful of charges, because the handful gets a fuck ton bigger. All right?
Okay.
So we...
so like playing Uno against my dad.
So...
Motherfucker has all the wild draw floors!
He gets out on OR with an agreement that he's allowed to drive. Okay, his license is suspended, but he's allowed to drive for work. Okay. Now, work is landscaping.
That's a lot of driving.
Okay, that's a lot of driving, and it's a lot of driving where we live to places outside of where we live to get what you need.
Yeah.
All right? Okay, right.
Consider you can't even get underwear in the town that we lived in.
Well, and considering what we're talking about here, I'm going to say namely Reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good place, huh?
Oh, you mean the meth capital of Northern California? If not all of California? During that time?
Convenient.
Yeah, during the 90s and early 2000s, this is a fact, California had more ER visits due to methamphetamine by rate than any state in the nation.
Oh, shitballs, really?
Shasta County had the highest rate of methamphetamine-related visits to the ER out of all the counties in California.
Of course.
Reading!
Right?
So for everyone that's kind of wondering why, Reading is a shithole. It really is. There's some nice areas around it, but during this time... Yeah, right now, it's on the uprise. It's becoming nicer, but during this time, it was a shit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Rent was dirt cheap. Bay Area...
For a reason.
Yeah, for a reason.
For a reason.
Yeah, now, there were Bay Area gangs. They would send their cooks to Reading with cash in hand to rent a house for an entire year. Cash in hand.
Me and my mom were literally just talking about this, and the fact that you are saying word for word what she just said like 3 days ago.
Yeah, and they pay for the rent, and then they cook and cook and cook and cook and cook, and that's how the Bay Area got all their meth. And that's how come Reading had a lot of houses that kind of exploded on occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we had one in our neighborhood in Arizona. That top blew off. It was neat. Yeah, I'm like, it was neat.
Yeah, I had a friend that found a house that had all the ventilation taped up and all the windows blackout curtain taped up, and he called the drug team because he had a friend, and he was like, "Hey, I bet if you test their water from the sewer water, sure as shit, it was so fucking tainted." That's all they needed.
Yep, it's disgusting. But, yeah, so he actually ended up... Okay, so he's out on OR. He's still allowed to drive for work, okay? I'm telling you, I wish I had the luck. All right? I get fucking pulled over for picking my fucking nose. This guy can murder somebody and be like, I got 2 weeks. And, like, prance off into the fucking sunset. It's fucking ridiculous, okay? So...
Now, I gotta find out how come you got a ticket for picking your nose sometime.
No, I didn't.
Okay. I was gonna say, that's a story I want to hear.
Yeah.
Trouble for fucking everything, though. I guess I just have a face that gets caught.
Well, I mean, you have that grin of the devil may care and that twinkle in your eye, so yeah.
Oh, God. But
it's one of the things I loved about you.
I don't give a shit. Let's just go have fun. Like, who cares? But, yeah, so he actually ended up...
I'm sorry, Richard just said the patriarchy at its finest.
You can't see anything in chat.
Yeah, but no, this chat right now, they're just like a bunch of what the fucks, how the fuck, face palms, California loves, California drugs, just...
Totally.
California drugs.
He actually ended up totaling a friend's vehicle on the way down to Reading to go pick up. And I don't mean pick up shit for landscaping.
Yeah, I mean, it's the meth hub of Northern California at this time.
He actually ended up totaling, because he knew all these really big players from all the little corners that he had been playing with, the cartels and the mafia and this and that and the other, right? So, like...
I mean, when you have...
You can get some shit.
When you have big Bay Area gangs and even LA gangs that are doing that shit up there, yeah, they have direct ties to the cartel and the mafia. Because they're the big gangs.
Skipping around between each one.
And he was going down to San Francisco. He was going all over the motherfucking place. He'd head down to San Francisco and be back home overnight.
Jesus, that's a round
take
trip.
my car while I'm sleeping, go to San Francisco, and be back by the time I gotta fucking wake up and be at work.
He was hauling ass.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
So 70 miles an hour was him going slow.
No. So, yeah. So he actually ended up totaling one of his friend's vehicles on the way down to Reading to fucking pick up, all right? So you'd figure, boom, he's going to jail, right? Because he's out on OR, okay? So what ends up happening is one of the family friends ends up writing a letter to the judge saying that he was going down to Reading to go and get stuff to do landscaping in her yard, and she was paying him for it, and therefore he was driving to go get stuff for his job, and it falls under the regulations of his OR.
So the accident must have happened north of Reading.
Yes.
Because had it happened south, which, yeah, south of Reading to San Francisco, that's a big gap.
Yeah.
Small gap between where we lived in Reading.
So there was that one, right? And then he just can't stop playing the game. So I'm trying to figure out how, let's see. That was only like a couple of weeks after.
And Missy just said if he had applied himself in life properly, what he could have done with the time management skills he had.
No kidding.
And the business skills, motherfucker. You gotta be a business person sometimes in this shit.
Yeah.
Trust me, all the drug dealers that I got my shit from in high school have fucking made it, man. No joke. Every single one is like, boom.
Yeah, they took what they knew and they went legal with it, and holy
it's a business.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's a fucking business. You have to have business smarts to keep it fucking going.
Yeah.
Like, very legitimately, everybody I got drugs from in high school has made it fucking big. And I'm like, of fucking course you did. You had the shit together.
Damn it. How come I didn't sell drugs? No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. We do not condone selling drugs.
But yeah, so he ends up totaling the car, gets okayed on that one because of the note. And then, let's see, I have moved out. I am living out in the Savannahs. And she's with me, kiddo's with me, and I'm sleeping one night, and I get this phone call from this bitch that I used to call Hood Rat, all right? And that, I mean, that's straight up, that's how I fucking refer to her, fucking Hood Rat, all right? I've never fucking, Hood Rat. So the unfortunate part is she and I used to be extremely good friends.
Uh-oh.
And then, like, years change people and sort of do drugs and poof. So, Hood Rat.
Right.
All right, so I get this fucking phone call from fucking Hood Rat, and she's like, hey. And I'm like, start talking, bitch, because you're like the last person I want to fucking hear from, and it's 2 o'clock in the fucking morning. What do you want? He is in jail again. Come say what? Well, the cops swooped up on him, and he got busted with a bunch of shit, and he's in jail again. So...
Hey,
well, right.
OR, they can do that.
I'll call the courthouse in the morning and I'll fucking find out, like, how and why and what and all that shit, because I'm actually allowed to. So I call the courthouse in the morning and they're like, oh, yeah. So, you know, he had a whole bunch of meth on him. Yeah. And a whole bunch of weed on him. Mm-hmm. And let's not forget about the loaded weapon and the brass knuckles that he was carrying. And okay,
God, bro.
And I'm like, woo, it's done.
And this is California, so It's
I was
even worse.
devastated. Well, okay. So this was very close to. Obviously, he gets put away while he's waiting for his court date. This is extremely close to February. His mom sold her soul to the devil, bless her soul, to get him the best lawyer that we had in that county. So I think his sentencing was shit.
That sounds like what you're about to drop on us, is that his sentencing was shit.
Well, I think
Yeah.
I'm about to drop California fucking politics on you is what I'm going to do.
Wasn't he gonna get out
Oh,
when I was
no.
gonna be 21?
No, so he was getting sentenced on January 11th, I believe it was. Okay. He had something like 16 total felony charges.
Oh, damn.
God, dude.
He was actually legitimately looking at time at Pelican Bay.
For everybody else that doesn't know, Pelican Bay was the first super max security or facility in the United States.
So because he's got
Wow.
the gun charges and the child endangerment and the level of some of the felonies and the level of some of what he had, they're looking at Pelican Bay. Okay, so he gets this lawyer.
Fun
and
fact,
I think
I have 2 friends that work at Pelican Bay.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Never even heard of this place.
Okay, so you remember
really?
you remember the drummer, the blonde drummer from high school?
Yeah.
He works there as a correctional officer.
Really?
And one of his
Never
old bandmates, too.
Ever.
I never would have thought that of him. I thought he was just too chill for that.
Mhm.
But
But yeah,
Those
so
chill people are the most serious. people.
being a
Right.
correctional officer at a Supermax pays bank.
a lot of money. Because it's high
Because you
hazard.
deal with crazy people.
You are dealing with literally the most dangerous members of society that society's just like, we don't ever want to fucking see you again.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it is a Supermax facility. It is still to this day a Supermax facility.
And it's murderers and rapists.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that's in there.
Mm-hmm. So, but he had a fantastic lawyer, and California had just passed a nifty new law because they like to do it.
Oh.
So, I like that reaction.
Yeah, and this was after they had already passed 3 strikes, so this has to be something not as harsh.
Okay, and he hasn't had any strikes up until, well, he did have 1 strike before this, but that's a totally different fucking story. Anyway, so the California law that got passed was and I don't remember what the percentage is because most statistics are made up on the spot, so 97%.
Yeah.
Okay. And 97% of your felony charges are drug related, then you have the option go to CRC, which is the California Correctional Rehab Facility. Okay. And what that is basically, it's referred to as Hotel California. All right. And it really is. And it is a rehab center in a prison setting. Okay. So you're not allowed to leave. There are bars, there are this and that, but it's not like all these separate cells. It's like a protected, like watch, like bunks and this and that and the other, but it's not prison. Okay. So what his lawyer ends up doing is, well, he wouldn't have been dealing drugs if he hadn't have been doing drugs. Right? And he wouldn't have had to carry a weapon with him if he hadn't have been dealing drugs because he had been doing drugs. Okay? And somehow this motherfucker gets almost everything tied into the fact that he's a drug addict.
But if memory serves me correctly, he was a drug dealer and became an addict.
So, but
it kind of went the other way.
Mental gymnastics, bro.
Yeah.
Semantics and all that good shit, right?
But you know, good luck proving it. That's the thing.
And innocent until.
Yep. Wow.
But I guess
Wow.
that depends on the case, actually.
You even got Kat to drop the F-bomb. She put periods between each letter, but
Can't see it. Oh wait, no, I can see it.
yeah. And Austin came in. I assume that he's talking about the Cali Gitmo would be Pelican Bay, and they almost made a Pelican Bay too.
Really?
That's still on the table, by the way.
Really?
Really. And in case you're wondering where Pelican Bay is, it's in Crescent City.
Yes, it is.
Really?
Yeah, if you want to get to it, you either have to wind up a very long coastal road from nearly the Bay Area, or you have to cross into Oregon and come back down.
Oh.
It is about as far northern California coast as you can get.
Remote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
remote.
Yeah. So let's see.
Oh, and it's in the middle of the redwood forest.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Oh, it's beautiful.
I bet.
I'm actually really trying to. Oh yeah, so he does this 6-month stint there, gets back out. I am trying to remember exactly what put him back in.
Can I ask you a question?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he also get in trouble because wasn't there a call saying that he stole a car?
Completely different time.
God damn.
So many things.
I didn't want you to
Too
repeat
many
on that
things.
part. I didn't know where that landed on the
No,
time frame.
that was
so-
the from my understanding, that was the very last time.
Okay.
Completely different incident.
That was when he got out when you were 8. That was the last time, from what I understand.
Really? Okay.
But who knows, because I've gotten stories from Grandma,
Everyone?
and I've heard stories from Auntie, and I've heard his, and I've heard 7 different stories on it, so I don't fucking know what it actually is.
Yeah.
But no, not
Somewhere there's a kernel of the truth is in there.
It is.
Right.
It is that somebody called and ratted him out, and well, okay. So from my understanding of the situation
that's
that we're
the
currently
end part,
talking about,
because
this is
it
the
gets to
time
that
that
end
he
part.
fell asleep behind the wheel while he was waiting for somebody to come and pick up from the car, and then somebody fucking called in the cops and was like, "Hey, this stupid motherfucker's right out here with all sorts of shit," and poof, there you go.
That'll do it. And Kat's absolutely shocked about 6 months. First was 6 months, question marks with exclamation points, followed by a little bit later, only 6 months. Yeah, look at that hard time in a supermax facility that's rapists and murderers, and he's neither.
Well, and you know what happens in places like that? You meet nothing but more people like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just get drained and pulled further
Okay,
into it.
so he legitimately met more people higher up on the ladder
More connections.
Yep.
Networking.
and just kept on playing.
Yeah. That's
And
what
now,
those
I don't
rehab
remember-
facilities do.
I don't remember what he actually got busted for when he went to jail, but he got out of CRC, and I think it was like 4 or 5 months later that like he actually got in trouble and went to jail. And it was that point in time that shit started happening with me. All right, because he had the black book that a lot of money was owed on to.
For those of you who don't know what a black book is, it's what drug dealers basically have to keep a tab of who owes them money and where their
Oh.
product's going.
Too.
Like a loan
Thank
shark's
you.
And who
ledger.
you owe money to.
Okay, and who they owe money to. Yes, like a shark's ledger. Exactly.
Thank you for the
So,
explanation.
I mean, when you get caught with products multiple times, you're racking up debt.
now, okay, here's the other thing that happens.
Right?
Hold on. Here's the other thing that happens, okay? Is that when you get caught with that much and you get off with 6 months,
What did you do?
who'd you rat?
Yeah.
That's how some people view it. Not to say he did, but like hypothetically
He
speaking.
comes from a family with history of you don't ever rat on anyone, so I can 98% guarantee he didn't, but that is automatically the thought that's going to come to anybody who's higher up than him and whatever the fuck he's playing with. You got 6 months in rehab, who'd you fucking rat?
Yeah. And if someone higher up suddenly gets popped of no fault of his own, the fault will still fall on him.
Yeah.
Come here, baby. Gigi is not even out here.
And Austin said you avoided a discount version of Fear and Loathing Part 2.
That's hilarious.
And Richard said, oh yeah, go for it,
Yeah.
see.
Richard said even drug dealers need good accounting.
Right?
And Missy said there is a code, ...
There is a huge code, a giant code
Wow.
in and out and all of that stupid stuff. But yeah, so he ended up going back in. And at that point in time, so many things happened. So I was working, tires started getting slashed. He owed people money. My house caught on fire. And that was her second, God saved her, because when the house caught on fire.
But the house catching on fire wasn't due to my father's incident.
I'm going to give a public service announcement as we're here. Okay. And it's a very important public service announcement. I'm not fucking around with anybody out there. Do not change your smoke alarm batteries. Change your smoke alarm. They expire.
Oh.
Do not change your batteries. Check the expiration date on your smoke alarm, because your smoke alarms will expire.
That makes sense, because there is a material that they do slowly wear through in order to make that zone that's ionized in order to detect smoke.
We had only been in this house. I was renting this house from my parents. We had only been in this house about 6 months. I'm the one that helped clean the place up and put it back together. We had replaced all batteries. Not a single fucking smoke alarm went off in my house. Not one. Okay. We woke up because our lungs were burning.
You're lucky you woke up.
I'm telling you, and there was enough smoke in our house that when you turn the lights on, you couldn't see.
Oh, God.
So, public service announcement, check your goddamn smoke alarms, folks.
Fortunately, every smoke alarm in my house, we purchased and put in when we bought the house. But I'm going to have to double check on those because the batteries are starting to die on them now.
Yeah, but legit, like, they have expiration dates. Please check them. Like, that's actually something I tell people a lot. I'm like, always check your shit. Like, fucking check it.
Well, I mean, you almost died because of it, so you have a very good reason for being like, yo, I'm not fucking around here. It's like the shop. It's like the shop teacher that says, wear your fucking safety gloves if they're missing a finger.
I can throw a little bit of comedy into it, though, okay? Because we always have some comedy. So the comedy I can throw into it is that this experience is what taught me not to sleep naked.
Oh.
Okay? Yeah, you got that one, didn't you? Because when you go running out of the house and you're holding a toddler in front of you to cover all your bits.
That's not enough.
It's super cool.
After she told me this story, that was my biggest fear.
Wait a minute. Okay.
House fired.
What time of year was this? Like, what month?
September.
Ooh, yeah, those nights start to get a little chilly in September.
But we weren't in town. We were out in Shastina. So at least there's that. It's not as bad out there.
No, just windy as fuck.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so there was that one. So we ended up moving into my parents' house. Nobody knew their phone number, and this was still before cell phones, okay? And at one point in time, so my tires one at a time are starting to like get slashed at work and shit, and he's getting close to, I almost did it. He's getting close to the point where he's going to be getting out again, and I start getting phone calls at the house randomly. One of them says, hey, if you plan on going to visit him, because he has to go to like this halfway house type gig before he can actually get out, we suggest that you check your car thoroughly. And at that point in time, I'm like, I'm cutting. So
yeah, I'm done. I'm out.
If truth be told, and I'm a very honest person at this point in time, you and I have discussed this before, not to reveal who I am, but I will say that you and I have discussed this before. This was my second round of methamphetamine use too.
I remember that.
Okay, so when he went and I was like, oh yay, freedom, all this shit was happening while I was a fucking mess too. All right, so literally my sister had been waiting for a phone call that said, I'm done, I gotta go. I'm lucky for that. Basically, I called her and I was like, yo, I'm packing up and I'm going to be there in 5 days. I need a house, I need a car, and I need a job. And she said, okay, no problem. I said, okay. And then I talked to my parents and I was like, here's what's going on. Shit's going south and I got to go. But I can't bring my car. I can't be followed. Like, I got to leave my shit here. So can you guys please drive me to this other state? and drop me off at sister's house. And they're like, absolutely. So I packed one box of my stuff, and I packed one box of her stuff, and we hopped in a vehicle, and we took a 2-day drive, and we showed up on my sister's doorstep. And I was fortunate enough to have a privileged and kind and caring and giving family who assisted me in the purchase of a house. And so we actually looked at 12 houses in one day, and I picked a house in one day. Said that's it. We're doing this one. I had no idea where I was moving. No clue what the city was like. None of that shit. Just
no idea what the neighborhood was.
Nothing. This is where we're living. Like, that's the house. The next day, I went searching for a car, and I found an old Sunfire that had been rebuilt. I had $2,000 and was like, here you go, motherfucker. Bought myself a car. And then the next day, I walked around to every restaurant that there was on 83rd Avenue. And I went searching for a job. And there's actually a whole lot of grace of God in this story. And by the grace of God, I got a job. Because come to find out that, oh my God, and I'm going to fuck some people up in a hot minute here too. So get some tissues and shit. And like grab some tissues. Because here we go.
God.
All right. Yeah. I know it gets so much better.
Oh God.
And then I'm going to hand it over to the little one afterwards because like
I
we'll be
gotta
all the way
take my
through it.
dog out in this
Yeah.
process.
Do your thing. So, let's see. We get there. I do the house. I do the car. I do the job. Okay, the job. The job I shouldn't have even gotten. Okay. I went to a million restaurants. I ended up at Buca di Beppo, which is a family-style Italian restaurant.
Oh, yeah. They're all over the place.
Their motto, and this actually comes into play, their motto is Una Familia. That means we're all one family. Okay? So that comes into play later.
That's a little ominous.
Well, yeah, the introduction of that. Well, it's pretty cool. Like, Buca's cool, though, because if you want to be a manager, you have to be part owner. They make you be what's called a paisano, which is a partner. So all of their management owns part of the restaurant that they're managing.
That's cool.
And that's why they're well run.
Well, it's like the Black
Really
Bear.
interesting.
Yeah.
The Black Bear, you don't really get the option to buy in. You work up.
Yeah, exactly. Like Dutch Brothers.
Yep.
But so I got a job at Buca, and come to find out, my boss Rich, and that's the name I have no problem dropping. I fucking love this man. I wish I could hunt him down one day. Oh God, most amazing guy I've ever worked for in my entire existence. No joke, hands down, most amazing boss I've ever had in my entire life.
So if you're listening.
Right? I love you, man. You are fucking amazing. So I'm working. He tells me I don't need you. As I'm working my first day, he says, I didn't need you. And I said, what? And he goes, I had already done all my hiring for that day. I had all my waitresses. He goes, but then you come in and drop this bomb of, I'm a single mom who just moved out here. I need a job. He's like, I can't not give you a fucking job.
That's awesome. That's a good guy right there.
Right? I'm like,
Restores a little bit of faith in humanity.
It does.
totally. I'm like, fucking great shit, man. So I'm working there, okay, and I'm getting my shit back together, and I'm in my house with literally when we moved in, I had a milk crate and a TV, and we slept on the floor in the living room. We shared the living room floor with a blanket because I had left everything back in Shasta, and I get this.
And there goes the city drop.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I'm starting to we're doing really good without the names, so I'm good. So like I'm doing all right. It's rough, but I'm doing all right. You know, things are going okay. I'm going to start going to school.
I mean, you have a house, you have a car, you have a job.
I have shelter. I got my kid. Everything.
Yeah,
everything's going to
You have the ability to get food. You have the ability to get furniture. You have the ability to go forward.
And I have an amazing amount of support.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that. I have an amazing amount of support.
Your family sounds a lot like my family.
I know I would not have made it. Like, I had support, right? So we are there, and working at Buca de Beppo. I'm getting my shit together. I literally,
You're
I
making
guess
me
you could
hungry
say,
every time you say Buca de Beppo. I fucking love that place.
I guess you could say I
Literally.
kidnapped my daughter. All right. But legally, I did not kidnap her. Okay. So this is actually how this works out. Think about it. If you're a mom and you take your kid and you don't tell dad where you're taking the kid, it's kidnapping, right? Oh,
Well,
unless they're in jail because they're no longer their own person.
yeah.
So,
They're a person
but
of the state.
legitimately, I was like, peace, we're out. I didn't tell his mom. I didn't tell his family. I didn't tell anybody. I gave my work 1 day notice and explained to them what was going on. And was like, I'm sorry, but I'm out tomorrow. And
Not that time, her boss was like family.
you know.
Yeah. Like, I
But,
still
yeah.
walk in there and they know exactly who I am. Like, they come to see me at the table every single time. We are just one big family.
Yeah, it's kind of like if I go back in my old company, there's only like one person that still works there from when that I trained. I left in 2000, so 21 years later, there's still one person
Right.
there.
Yes.
But the founder and that family, they know me. I know them. Love each other. I worked in their fucking basement. When
It's family.
Yeah, when the mom, who was also the VP and did all the accounting work, would go and try a new recipe, I was one of the guinea pigs that get to try it. And you know what her favorite thing in the world to do was? Bake goodies.
I was going to say, feed E.
Yeah, oh no, and the rest of us too. I mean, techs work on food. You can pay us minimum wage, as long as you're giving us extra food, we don't fucking care. We're happy. Give us raises in food. You know?
Right.
And they even installed a soda fountain in the house.
Shit.
No shit. I mean, we had
That's danger.
Dr. Pepper. Yeah!
We're addicted to Dr. Pepper. It's a horrible thing. It's a wonderful, horrible thing. It's not Mountain Dew, so at least there's that.
Well, Mountain Dew was too much for me.
It's poison.
Dr. Pepper is as far as but if I forgot to clean out my cup, I'd go in the next day in the morning, and my cup would be completely lined with dead carpenter ants.
Yeah. It's anything that is the color of antifreeze should not be drunk.
I don't know about that. Kool-Aid's pretty good.
Well, dude, lime Kool-Aid is kicking, though. You're right.
It is.
It really is.
And there's some good green Gatorades, too.
I'm a cucumber lime Gatorade girl. I'm totally that
There
person.
you go.
You guys seem absolutely
So
horrible.
good.
Horrible.
But when you're talking about the milk crate, just throwing it out there because there's a trend going out there. Don't do the fucking crate challenge.
What's the
I
crate
don't even
challenge?
wanna
I'm
know.
curious now.
How
People-
stupid are we this time?
Oh,
Yeah.
we are losing our lives stupid.
I'm interested.
It is people stacking up crates and trying to stand on the highest pillar of milk crates that they can. 1 foot on one pylon, 1 foot on the other pylon. And yeah, people
So
are
dumb.
doing this on cement. They are falling 7, 8, 9 feet on their heads, shattering their heads open, dead.
Well, you know, I mean,
Shattering their wrists, shattering their legs, shattering their spines, shattering their hips. Don't do them. Oh, God, just don't do it.
Hold on. Wait. Hold on a second, though. Because all of these challenges are really taking care of removing the warning tags.
Natural selection.
Okay? They are. Like, so we don't have to actually go around and remove all the warning labels on shit. Just let people do a bunch of challenges.
As a responsible podcast, I cannot condone
Don't
doing
do
these
that.
things.
Please don't. Please don't.
I'm just saying.
As me, the individual, I appreciate where you're coming from. But as a podcast, seriously, just don't do it.
Well,
I
you know,
mean-
I'll take care. I'll
No.
take care of the offensive for you and move it on.
Yeah, if you want to do a challenge, do the cinnamon challenge. That was just funny. See, have you seen the cinnamon
Collapse your lung,
challenge?
too.
Yeah.
What was that?
said it can collapse your lung too because you cough so much.
Okay, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Well, I mean, you're not going to die from that. You're going to learn a valuable lesson in life.
Hold up. It can give you pneumonia.
Yeah.
No, don't do it.
Like, you're not supposed to have foreign particles
No.
up in your shit.
He said, how about let's just not do any challenges at all? Forewarning to everyone.
Yeah, the dumbest one I think I heard that was trying to get started was the boiling water challenge.
Oh God, no! What is this?
You run up behind someone with a pot of boiling water and splash their back with it.
She just burnt her fingers and they blistered up.
Yeah. This
I legit just poured a fucking pot of boiling water all over my hand last week.
Now the good news is that hands tend to heal fairly well. Yeah. Not quite
It's
like
very
on
good.
your entire back.
Yeah,
That's permanent scars.
What's up, Steve?
Yeah.
I'm hearing you.
Yeah, of course, we have things in there about broken ribs every time. Fingers and ears, la 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 la. Natural selection.
Exactly. Yes.
People are honestly just getting
Unfortunate.
more stupid. There weren't warning labels on everything. I drank water from the hose, and I'm still here. So here's the danger with drinking water from the hose. Even though lead is a banned substance, guess what the rubber in the hoses tend to leach into the water?
Lead.
Lead.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Basically anything can kill you, dude. Like breathing
Okay.
oxygen.
Well,
Living, waking up every day, like.
Exactly.
the dose is in the poison.
Right.
It is all about
Yep.
the dose.
Yep.
Even vitamins
Oh,
could kill
yeah.
you.
Exactly.
Well, we can go for round number 3 of Mackenzie dying. Oh, there's the name drop again. Son of a fucking whore.
Da 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 da.
I suck cojones.
How many more times can we do it?
Me too.
And by the way, your sucking cojones is why we're such good friends. Kidding.
I literally
Kidding.
warned you. I told you that going with mom and daughter, you're like, no, I call you daughter all the time.
It's
No,
easy for you.
don't.
It's hard for me.
Who just goes, hey, daughter? No, you
don't
always
call
say
me
my name
me.
every time. I
I
always say
know.
mom.
Yeah, and Missy's already calling you guys out, saying you already said the name.
I
Just
know.
say, hey, offspring.
Bitch face.
Hey, shithead, bitch face.
Bitch face.
Like, whatever word we use growing up, it's okay.
She child.
Sorry to anyone who's offended to any of this.
Life sucking leech.
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh.
The one and only.
Fallopian tumor.
Where the hell? Oh, we were in Buca de Beppo.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because this is the
Go,
fun part.
Bubba. Go. Sorry.
Especially, yeah, this is the fun part. So, Buka, she is 3. I have had a friend move in with me to try to help her out, okay? One of my old meth head friends that I was like, oh, you want to get clean? I'm clean. Come fucking move in. We'll help you out. And I actually fucking, it worked. It helped.
That's awesome.
And,
That's a dangerous position that you put yourself in. But that was awesome that it worked.
but I'm a helper, and that's what I do. So,
Yeah.
so yeah,
heard that.
so we had another friend from home who was living out there. And this other friend from home was watching both my daughter and my roommate's daughter. Okay. While I was working and she was looking for a job. Right. So I'm at Buca de Beppo and they do this thing called family meal, which means because everything's stairs, you have to climb up and down stairs all night long. They make you eat before your shift. So they feed you and they're like, come eat. You're going to eat because you exercise all night. And that's our like meeting every day. And even if you're not working, you're allowed to come in and eat for free at that time every day. You're allowed to go in and have family meal. Even if you're in a different state, they give you a green card and you can walk in and go, I'm an employee, and sit down with those employees and eat their free family meal.
I so want a part-time job at Buca de Beppo now.
I'm fucking telling you.
I'm already fat. I'm going to become huge if I do this.
So I would bring her in a lot because single mom, broke as fuck, free dinner. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So
Well, it's
I
like the
have a
same
friend-
reason that you go to like the AA meetings and all that. Coffee
Free coffee.
and free coffee, free cookies.
So I have a friend who's watching both of our kids, and I'm working, and I'm at family meal, and our kitchen manager comes up and looks at me and says, "You have a phone call." And I'm like,
Oh no.
okay. So I like go walking. Oh yeah. I go walking downstairs and I pick up the phone, and it happens to be my sister, and she says, "What in the fuck is your daughter doing being hella vacked on TV?" And I said, "What?" And she says, "I'm watching the news right now. They're pulling her out of a fucking hot tub, and they're tossing her on the helicopter, and they're hella backing her. What in the fuck's going on?" And I'm like, "I'm going to call so-and-so." Turns out so-and-so has been trying to get a hold of me, but I didn't have my cell phone on me because it's in our lockers. We weren't allowed to have them. Okay, now keep in mind, my car, after dropping my daughter off to be babysat while I go to work, has been having issues. I don't know what was going on with it, but it was not running very well. And I get this phone call, and I'm like, what the fuck? So I call babysitter, and she's like, "I've been trying to fucking get a hold of you. Mackenzie drowned." And I've already said the name, so I don't fucking care anymore. All
Sorry,
right?
daughter.
Yeah.
I got so close to dropping it. I think it was enough that people could have figured it out.
Yeah.
But you went ahead and took that away from me, so thank you.
So she tells me she fucking drowned. And I'm like, "What do you mean she fucking drowned?" She fucking drowned. And okay, so I'll get into all of that real quick before we go to the trip to the hospital. Come to find out that the younger one that she was watching, they'd all been sitting with their feet in the hot tub hanging out, and water wings had been taken off. The younger child who the babysitter was watching had gotten up and started running next to the pool. And when she turned around, Mackenzie was no longer there, okay? And so she goes over, and the bubbles are on the pool, and she doesn't see her down there, and they had been playing hide and seek, so she starts looking around behind, like, fucking vending machines and stuff, and then she gets this feeling, and she jumps in the hot tub, and she steps on her. And yanks her out, okay, and puts her up on the fucking concrete on the patio and starts screaming for help. By the grace of God, once again, there are two nurses who live right above the pool at the apartment who are getting ready to go to their shift at St. Joe's Children's Hospital. One of them hears her screaming for help and goes down and starts doing CPR while the other one calls the helicopter. All right.
That's amazing. Again, just wow.
Yeah, my car is dying. I go back upstairs for family meal. I'm crying, and Rich, my boss, like, "What's up?" And I just look at him. I'm like, "My daughter fucking drowned." And he's like, and he knows my car's fucked up. So he actually looks at my friend Michelle and goes, "You drive, you fucking call me when you get there." Right? Keep in mind, I don't have insurance at this fucking point in time, okay? So that's like just an extra added plus on the stress of that. So
Like,
we need...
Seriously, we're not sponsored by Buca de Beppo, just so you guys know. But if you're listening and you have the ability to sponsor us as Buca de Beppo, yeah, we'll take it.
Because I'm going to make you love them even more.
But, like, seriously, I am falling in love with this company.
I'm going to make you love them even more. I really, really am. At least my boss and the one that we were at.
But, I mean, he's kind of, as far as I know, he's the spokesman. Because this is the most I've ever seen on the inside, and this is amazing. I mean, just the fact that you have the family meals and all that, that is amazing in and of itself.
We're not familia. We're one family.
That is so awesome.
So I take off. The problem is I come from tiny town. So when they say the hospital, there's the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm now in a city of 4 million people. When they say the hospital, there's 23 of them.
Yeah. Which one?
Which hospital is she going to?
And you're new to the area, so it's like not only which hospital is it, how do I get there?
So Rich asked me what hospital is she on. I said, "I don't fucking know." And he says, okay. He looks at Michelle. He says, "You speed until you get pulled over by a police officer. They'll know where it's at." So we start heading downtown where all the hospitals are down the I-17, and we're going damn near 100 miles a fucking hour, and all of a sudden we get pulled over by a cop, and he comes up, he says, "You leave in a fucking hurry?" And I said, "Yes, sir. My daughter drowned. I have no idea what hospital's at. She's at. We're trying to get pulled over to figure out where the fuck we're going." He goes, "You are the mom. Okay, follow me." So
Again, Guardian here.
I get to follow a police officer with their lights on like I'm chasing a cop, which was so much fun. All right. And so we get to the ER room.
You see, that's that little thing of where there's that surrealism. Like, during a crisis, there's that surrealism. And, like, you just mentioned it there.
Dream.
Yeah, it's like...
here's my next surreal fucking
Like, when I got T-boned, I looked over, saw the wife was okay, saw that the car hit the fender. There was nothing that could be done about it, so I kind of sat back and went, wee!
So I get to the hospital, and Michelle kicks me out of the car and is like, go get your fucking daughter. I walk up, and I'm actually greeted by a priest who comes up and grabs my hands and says,
that is not the way you want to be greeted.
Mother? And I'm like, she's dead. Like, there's a priest here because they do last rites. Like, fuck me, she's dead. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm the mother. He says, come this way. And we get into this giant fucking ER with all this noise. And it's a huge fucking emergency room. And I hear this loud bitch, man. She had pipes. My mom used to fucking pick her up and put her out on the front porch when she would start crying because she was so goddamn loud. All right? Like, she had pipes.
I had pipes, apparently, because I had uncles that said, I hope to God you have a kid that screams like you, because that fucking scream, it is so high-pitched, so piercing, so loud, and I was happy. I went 3 kids, didn't have that happen, and then my daughter came, my 6-year-old.
See, I told you, don't have another one. You're perfect right now. She's awesome. Don't have another one. You're going to fuck it all up, kid.
My God, her scream.
Hey, Chunky, it's okay. Yeah, tell Grandma to shut up. Shut up, Grandma.
Such a way with words, bro.
So I walk into the ER and I hear her scream, and I'm like, that's my baby. Mm-hmm. And they take me back, and she looks at me, and the lady, the nurse looks at me, she goes, she's been crying for 2 hours, and she just falls into my arms and passes out. Right?
Aww.
Okay, so this is I'm gonna make you love Buca de Beppo time and time again right now, even though they're not sponsoring us, okay? So I call my boss Rich, I'm like, here's where we're at, she's alive, she's okay. Let me back up a half second. Here's the next miracle, actually. She was dead for over 5 minutes.
Oh.
By all natural means, she should be mentally retarded.
Yeah, that's brain damage time right there.
And she's brilliant. So thank you, God, on that one.
She showed me the paperwork and everything.
Oh yeah.
Before I moved away.
Found the 911 transcripts, like the actual written they gave me the 911
transcripts. There's the
transcripts.
There's the hospital paperwork that the doctors and nurses wrote everything down, and the notes.
Look, it's like there's guardian angels that, they get sent when needed. I swear to God, whatever is sending guardian angels your way, they have it in a fucking machine gun. Like, here we go again. Boom, 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 boom. Is that enough? Send some more just in case. Boom, 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 boom.
You've got God and anime on your side.
Yes, sir, I do.
Yeah, and it's like, right, I mean, the chat is going crazy. First, like, the brilliant method with the getting pulled over in order to find out which hospital to go to. That was a stroke of genius. Missy was like, holy shit, a town of angels, about you hear the pipes on your little girl. Kat, if this was a movie, no one would believe this shit. I'm like, this should be a movie, seriously. Like, she's a fucking miracle. One of the best sounds in the world is a baby crying or screaming when something horrible happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like, what a roller coaster. Richard is like, yo, this is crazy. They got the John Wick of angels on their corner.
Yeah.
And Missy's, nope, she has a purpose.
Yeah, somewhere out there, I'm telling you. But yeah, so I actually called my boss and said, hey, we're good. Here's what's going on. They did all the x-rays, all the CAT scans, all the PET scans, all the MRIs.
She was dead for 5 minutes?
We spent 2 days in the hospital. But I called him, and he just goes, okay, what do you want for dinner? And I said, what? He goes, when I'm done working, I'm bringing you dinner. What do you want for dinner? I'm like, everything's family style, man. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Get salad, get an entree, get a dessert. I don't care. So I was like, I want a Caesar salad, I want macaroni rosa, and I want a tiramisu.
Do you know how? I mean, that is like the perfect. Oh my!
So straight up,
You and I have the same taste.
He said, "Oh my
at my hotel room at 1 a.m. after cashing everything out with food, and sit there until 3 a.m. eating with me, making sure I'm okay. Okay, so this was the weekend before Mother's Day. On Mother's Day, I go to work because he had given me the day off, and I've got tens of thousands of dollars in medical bills now. A stupid fucking amount of medical bills, okay? So I'm not taking a day off. It's Mother's Day. I can play this card, and I'm going to play the fuck out of it, right? So I say, fuck it. I pick up a double shift. I end up working 12 hours, all right?
Hey, you may have seen my daughter being lifted on the news.
No, legit, I'm not joking. I put her picture on the outside of my server pad so people could see it and ask about her.
The subtle ways of doing things.
I shit you not. I was like, yeah, that's my 3-year-old. She actually drowned last week, and that's why I'm working today. I'm trying to fucking make money for medical bills. Boy, I walked out of there with damn near $600 from people and their tips. And then I walked downstairs to cash out because we had to cash out in the office. And I go in and I sit there and I walk into Rich, and he is pissed. He goes, "You sit down." And I'm like, "Yes, sir."
What did I do?
Did I push it too long?
I gave you this day off for a reason. You almost lost your daughter, and it's Mother's Day. I gave you this day off for a reason. What the fuck are you doing picking up a double? I said, well, I need money, Rich. He says, I know you do, but still, it's Mother's Day. I'm like, I need money. He goes, I know you do. Sit the fuck down. And I'm like, okay, so I sit down. He goes, I know you need money. That's why we did this. And he throws this envelope at me.
Aww.
And he says, there's 4 Buca de Beppos in that valley. He says, I contacted all of the Buca de Beppos and I asked for help. And every single employee at every single Buca de Beppo pitched in what they could. And there's about $5,600 in that envelope for you.
Bro, these people are godsends, dude. Like,
I'm legitimately cheering up on this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying not to cry. Happy tears.
So
Happy tears, but Jesus.
There was one person left, Fernando, and I went upstairs and I gave him the hug of all hugs, and I was like, thank you so much, and I'm totally going to fucking bawl my eyes out. And he puts my face down over this fucking placemat, and he goes, you see that? What's it say? And I said, that says Una Familia. And he goes, yeah, baby, we're family.
oh.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, shit. Okay. But yeah. So
That is so
I'm now a customer for life.
heartwarming.
Like seriously, the best thing I could do is to
is
support
just-
them because they do shit like this.
And another plus that's not as important, whenever she was working, they would let me eat the cherries behind the bar.
The Mendocino cherries. Basically just sugar-soaked cherries.
She would
You see that as an absolute win.
Missy just said it. She nailed it. This is better than all the Undercover Boss episodes put together.
right?
It really is.
Telling you, amazing man.
Richard, yo, sign me up for this new religion of Buka. Cat, I 100% agree, Richard.
That's awesome. That is fucking awesome. I love it. But yeah, I mean, that's just amazing.
The fact that all the Buca de Beppos together did this, and I say, like, you're probably still new to the company at this point?
Oh yeah, I actually only worked there a total of 11 months.
Wow.
It was only 3 months after I had moved.
Damn.
It was literally like right after I had moved there.
The fact that all those other Bucas did it for someone that hadn't been there very long, for a total stranger, really speaks to the culture that they have cultivated inside of Buka. That is amazing. I don't know why you're not working there still. You even got Austin crying. Kind of ugly crying, but he's crying.
I didn't want to be a waitress for the rest of my life, and I didn't want to manage a restaurant.
But that's fair. Could always gone into marketing.
Right. Actually, I should have, because let me tell you what, I can sell Buka and I can sell Pilot G2 pens with the best of them. I know it sounds so weird, but I swear to God, I probably made Pilot G2 pens about $1 million over the course of 7 years of training.
Damn.
I'm not joking. I'm like, you motherfuckers owe me money.
Well, I mean, you had a hustle. You put the picture of your daughter outside your... Yeah.
She used the shit out of me, bro.
I did. I needed to. I didn't
Talk
really have
about
much
a
of a
leech,
choice.
huh?
Right.
I did.
But she was using you in order to care for you. That's acceptable. She wasn't
It took care of
exploiting you.
What?
But yeah, and then actually everything went
And
really,
yeah.
really normal for
And-
almost the rest.
And Kat just said something that I was about to say too. I love Pilot G2 pens. Like, seriously, those are good pens.
Oh my god, seriously,
They're
I
such good
can't.
pens.
I'm sorry, I could talk about a Pilot G2 pen for like 7 hours, believe it or not.
Well, we only have an hour left, so let's not.
Yeah, so like I said, everything went pretty normal from there. Believe it
Austin
or
just
not.
said it. You could sell franchises for Buka.
I totally right. Ooh.
There you go.
She was 8 years old. And then when she was 8 is when I was like, holy shit, yeah.
We had a momentary glitch there.
I was like,
Stupid dogs unplugged
Did
my
you say you
roughter.
were 6?
No, we're okay. Now, we had a gap. I think I have a Wi-Fi backup. my Switch got unplugged by my stupid dogs.
But yeah, so kindergarten, school, until you were 8. Dad went in the last
I got
time.
out once that I remember.
Yeah.
In between that time, and it was when I was like, I was gonna say 5 or 6.
It was kindergarten.
And
You were
he
5.
came
That's
down
when
to-
you went to
okay.
go.
That
That's when he
story,
came to visit.
he came down to visit me when he had gotten out. We ended up going to Barnes and Noble, the bookstore, and I remember going to the kid area, and it was just me and him because Mom was at work. When we got dropped off, we were gonna hang out,
Not gonna lie, I like
read
the
a
kids
couple of
area.
books, all of that. And so we go into the kids area. He sits down on the rocking chair, and I'm sitting down, and we're reading books. And he ends up
And he
falling
falls
asleep.
asleep. Yeah.
She said, did he fall asleep?
Yeah, it's kind of his theme at this point.
I saw it coming from a mile away, honestly. I'm not surprised after hearing
That's
this.
hilarious.
Yeah, he decided to fall asleep.
Or he
that was-
decided, or his body decided.
Yeah.
Who really knows?
He spent a lot of that visit sleeping.
Yeah,
Oh, sounds like recovery.
Sounds like it.
sounds like he took a little bit of enjoyment and then had to, calm down a little before going back home.
Yeah, no, I remember my ex-wife now. One of her best friends came to visit us. We lived in San Diego. Came from Sacramento to San Diego and basically slept for 6 days straight.
Yeah.
Got up to eat, go to the bathroom, and went right back to sleep. Occasionally stayed up about an hour to visit.
And that's it. But they can't really last that long.
No,
I'm
and
just glad I wasn't actually physically there to witness everything going on.
the good
as
news
I got
is
older.
the friend stayed sober after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Bad news is she stole about $800 from me and took off to Vegas. But hey,
Ugh.
it's all right. Believe it or not, and I'm still really good friends with her. It's totally all right. I am a forgive, don't forget person. So guess who will never
Right.
have any close access to any of my money? Pretty
Yeah.
simple.
Pretty
I
much.
mean,
I'm
You know?
a you get a second chance, you don't get a third.
yeah. And that was
Very
that
rare
was
for a
actually that was first fuck up. So, but at 8, he was going to get out again, and this time I was like, "Fuck, he's actually kind of cleaned his shit up. I better go and do some legal shit as far as custody goes." Because there's really no point in playing and spending the money on the custody battle if you can't get child support, you know what I mean, there's really no point in it until he gets out. So he gets out, and even with all of his shit, because he had a stable place to be when he was out. They granted him every other Christmas, every other Thanksgiving, and half of every summer. So I've never talked shit about him, actually. Occasionally when bills were tight and I'm like, it'd be nice if your fucking dad played child support. But, like, I wouldn't let my parents talk to her because she had to figure out who he was on her own, which...
Kind of like my oldest with his bio dad.
Yeah, which I will rapidly be handing over because the rest of this is almost your journey, kid.
All 55 minutes
like,
of it.
It's like
yeah,
a mixture
I know.
of
I'm
both
sorry.
of
I
us.
suck, man.
It's a mixture of both of us, but it's okay. It's okay.
So, yeah. I don't know. I know that you had struggles. I know that I put you into a couple of different therapies, one that didn't work and one that finally did. And I also know that you tried to conquer your demons with your dad, but I don't know a lot more. And neither does anybody else.
I know that. Okay, well, is this you passing the mic over?
I am fucking handing it over. It's all you.
She's throwing it at your head, dude.
Wow. Since it's on me now. Honestly. Like, growing up in Arizona when I got older, and he would try to call, he would try to, like, send letters, he would try to do all of that. And Mom wasn't, like, she wasn't the type of person to be like, oh, like, where's your dad? No one knows him. He's just a random person. She was straight up about it. She was like, like, your dad's calling. And I specifically remember, like, answering the phone and it being that automated message, like, you are getting a collect call from da-da-da county jail, from da-da-da-da. Would you like to accept? Like, I remember that being, like, 5 or 6 years old and, like, not wanting to talk to him and, like, running away. Like, at the age of going to preschool, like, I would try finding ways to avoid it and not really talk to him on the phone because I didn't know how to at that age. You feel me?
Yeah.
And then when he got out, I was really, really excited. Or when he came to visit the, like, short period he was out. That was fun. Best moment of my life as a kid because I was like, finally, my dad, yay. And then as a kid, you don't know anything about, like, drugs or what causes people to fall asleep randomly throughout the day.
Yeah.
So, like, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I want to read books with my dad. Like, I'm having so much fun. And then it wasn't until I got older that Mom was like, hey, like, this is kind of what was happening. And I was like, that makes sense. It adds up. And so that was hard. And then what else? I don't know. It's just weird. But then when he got out, when I was 8, I was in 4th grade. And, like, I was excited, but he was moving up to the northern part of the state. And so we were still living in Arizona. That's just how it was going to be. And the first time I was going to ever see him was for Christmas. And it was the first time he was out and actually staying out and didn't have future plans to go back in. And so...
Who the fuck has plans to go back into jail?
Well, like, it was already, like, it was on a release sentence that he was able to come visit in Arizona.
Okay.
Type of deal. He was having, like, a break or a period from it, but he knew he was having to return and he had a set date to go back. So, he was actually out. There was no release requirement paperwork besides the normal stuff it comes with. And,
like the probation?
Yeah, pretty much. And I was 5 years old, flying from Arizona to Oregon every summer by myself, and every other winter completely by myself.
Hold on, I'm gonna butt in. She was flying to go and spend time with her grandma.
Original, like that.
So when she was 5 and he was still in, I would send her home to go spend summers with his mom, so that she would know the other side of the family.
That's awesome.
So I got an opportunity to still, like, know my aunt and my grandma and all of that. But when I was 8, I I was nervous, I was scared, I was excited, and I remember asking my mom, what does he look like? Like, who, because he was the only person who was going to be there at the airport to pick me up. And so, like, it had always been my grandma. I know exactly what my grandma looks like. I know exactly what my aunt looks like. I've seen them every year for the last 3 years. What does my dad look like? Like, what does he look like now? Who am I expecting to see? I don't want some random person walking up to me and have that awkward moment of, like, who are you? And they're like, you're my kid. So,
my daughter! Stranger danger!
So, like, I remember her showing me pictures of him and just being like, you know, this is what he looks like now. He would send pictures of his programs that he was in that were very, very helpful and beneficial while he was locked away. And, like, just the whole situation was very hard because growing up, I heard him and mom would get into some arguments because I wouldn't want to talk to him. And I would go and be like, oh, I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm going to go play with friends. And I would avoid it. And so obviously, like, when a kid avoids it, it's left to the parent to deal with. And so, like, she would be like, she doesn't want to talk to you right now. And I remember arguments and, like, her having to go out into the garage.
What are you telling her about me? What bad things are you saying? I'm guessing it was along those lines.
Right.
If not, why are you lying and hiding my daughter from me? I mean...
Yeah.
It was more of why won't you let me talk to her?
But Missy pointed out something that really hit hard. Like, for you, this was your reality. For everybody else, wow. Realizing you don't know what your dad looks like.
Yeah. Like, that was a big
That
thing.
that just kind of does that whole zen, like, whoa. I cannot relate to that.
Right.
Not at all.
Yeah. And, like, that's something I also didn't realize that, like, stuck with me because back in elementary school, we grew up in, yes, it was not the best, but it wasn't the worst in our area that we could have been in. If you want, like,
can I name it?
go.
It was a family-oriented, friendly ghetto. Okay, so we lived in a shithole with a whole lot of Section 8 and not a whole lot of fantastic stuff around it. A lot of, like, really just not good shit happened around the neighborhood. But the street that we lived on, everybody knew everybody else. Everybody watched out for everybody else's kids. All the garages were always open. We were all welcome in each other's houses. Just that street out of the whole neighborhood. But you had this street that we were all a family community that took care of each other.
So basically, it was like there was a little diamond in a lump of shit.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Diamond in the rough.
And, like, at my school, I grew up, like, I was a kid. I said exactly how it was. It wasn't weird to me. It was just my life. It was my reality that I was going through. So I would talk about it very openly. And I think I shocked the shit out of a lot of my teachers because they weren't expecting the kid to be like, hey, my dad's in jail because he sold drugs. You feel me? And
yeah.
I remember...
I mean, I think I would practically crap myself if one of my friends or one of my classmates is like, yeah, my dad's in jail because he sells drugs. I'd be like...
I actually had one of her preschool classmates tell me that one day.
I'd be like, Mom, Dad, what's drugs? You know, just...
Right?
Yeah.
But, like,
It's adult
I remember
candy.
talking to one of my friends, and I had mentioned that I go to Oregon every single summer to go see my dad, and he was like, I can't even imagine that. I can't imagine, like, both of my parents being separated and having to, like, go to separate houses. And, like, for me, like you said, like, that's my life. That was my reality. And it becomes so normal until, like, someone mentions it, and you don't realize how, like, weird of a thing it is, or strange, I guess.
Right.
What else?
Can I
I
ask
don't
you
know.
something?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's something that nobody else knows about, but I have inside information.
Yeah.
I am pretty sure that it would be of interest to most people as far as mental health goes. to discuss what it made you feel like when your father constantly told you that he would move to Arizona
Yeah, okay, so like you
to
said,
be with you.
I don't know what to talk about because I'm just used to it. So like,
I know.
you giving little hints is like,
That's why I'm like, okay, I know that
Unofficial.
there's this part that bothered you when we were growing up because we've discussed it. So I think that might help you.
Yeah, there were a lot of broken promises that my dad made to me growing up. It became kind of just like a typical thing. Like when he says something or promise something, I would just look at mom and be like, "It's not gonna happen, is it?" And she would be like, "Honey,
That was
just don't get your hopes up."
That's my oldest experience with his bio dad.
Yeah, and it's really, really shitty. So when he first got out, it was like, "Oh, I missed you. You're my daughter. I love you so much. I can't wait to be close with you. Like I missed out on your whole childhood. I just want to watch you grow up."
And
honestly,
that's probably sincere from the heart.
It is.
He's just
I could tell. He doesn't know how to navigate it.
Exactly.
And like, I don't know. He would always say that, and then he would be like, "I'm gonna move down there. I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna try moving down there." And then like a year would pass, and he'd be like, "No, I'm trying for this summer. And then another year would pass, and I'd be like, "Okay." And then it got to the point where he was like, "Why don't you try come moving up here?
Oh.
Don't you want to try moving up here?"
He was totally going to too.
And so my dad had and this is like my own opinion, and obviously he's not going to agree with it because he doesn't think he did this to me, but like with my experiences, he played both sides very well and had me be the parent figure majority of the time. So every time I would go up there during the summers, I was the one figuring out what day I was going up, or if he got plane tickets, or if me and mom need to go online and buy plane tickets or not. I was the one like calling to tell him every time to come pick me up from an airport, or like, "Hey, don't forget, I have school I have to go back to."
If you really want to see your kid, you're supposed to put in the effort. Now, not saying he doesn't.
Into this for a heartbeat, though, because there's more that comes into play on it than just her dad. Okay. He also was in a relationship in which she would not allow him to discuss anything with me.
No, that was after.
Are you talking? Okay.
He had he had a girl before that one.
Yes. And she actually would allow shit, and that's where it actually
started. And she was
the
air flighted. Like, she worked at the airport. She knew what the fuck was going on. So right. she got her shit together. She was like, "Nope, this is when you're coming in." Everything was so smooth when they were together. And like, since he has been out, he hasn't really been able to be single and by himself until he was like forced to be by himself in the situation he's in right now, which like, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And so he ended up getting into a relationship with this next person, and this next person is not the person that they should have been in a relationship with together. They both bought out the negatives of each other.
Hey, been there, done that.
I think we all get there sometime.
So,
why did I take her to my sister's wedding? That's all I've got. Why? I knew better.
Never take a girlfriend to a wedding.
No. Never take the psycho one to the wedding.
All right, that's good clarification.
Take your best friend instead, who winds up being your wife later.
There you go. Yes.
A lot better.
Don't let the crazy ones catch the bouquet.
Man.
Make sure they're all the way in the back.
Yeah.
Make sure they're all the way and throw shallow.
Had it been going her way, I would have Dikembe Mutombo'd that shit, swat it down, and with a finger wag.
Back it out of her hand, let someone else catch it.
Yep. And Missy pointed out something quite well, and I think that you're going to be able to attest to this. When your normal is abnormal, it doesn't become normal until you learn differently. And then I added in, and normal is fucking strange.
Yeah, it really is. Normal is never actually normal for anyone.
It's almost like that one meme with that one guy like, "Wait, you're getting paid for this?" It's almost like, "Wait, this is normal?"
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. You actually get to have dinner with both of your parents every night? What the fuck?
Right?
Right. And that was an oddity for my friends because my parents were together. And none of my friends' parents were together. And they were like, your parents are together? I'm like, yeah. They're like, that's got to be fucking weird. With her, even in the situation, the neighborhood we were in, she was
All the
one
parents
that
were always
worked
together. I was the
and
only
all the
one.
parents were stood. She's like, yeah, I'm leaving for the summer. And they're like, well, where are you going? To see my dad.
I was the only kid who did it. And we grew up in a bigger city, a lot bigger than where my mom comes from. So, like...
Well, I mean, that's a pretty low bar to hurdle.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But like,
3,500 people is
class,
easy to hurdle.
My graduating class was like 200 people.
Yeah, that was like the entire school.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
we hit almost 400 my senior year. In the entire school.
Almost.
Yeah. In the entire school. 4 grades.
See, I had the complete opposite. When I was in middle school, literally, I would joke all the time that we should start a rebellion because we outnumbered the teachers and the staff so much. Like,
Oh, every school's like that.
yes. Like, I believe there was like 1,000 something students altogether.
Oh, my word.
See, there
That was like the size of mine.
There's not even 1,000 students from kindergarten to senior year of high school in our school system that we went to.
Yeah. And it was only for 7th and 8th grade too. So
Yeah, I was gonna say now for the school district, there's probably
Maybe.
about 2,000 tops. Although
Yeah.
most of the schools, well, okay, the county seat had a big school. Too.
When we were there.
Well, yeah,
Not anymore.
no. Oh, even our school has shrunk like holy shit.
Oh, my God.
Like the freshman class this year is like, that was one classroom in 6th grade.
Right?
The town's dying. It is.
Mm-hmm. It really is.
It's one of the saddest fucking things too because it's so beautiful.
It is. And it's just toast. That's why she wanted to move back up there. She's like, no, I want to live in this tiny little place and see what that's like. I lived in a big city.
You know
and
what?
then she was like, oh, look, there's drugs all over.
Yeah. I mean, there was drugs all over when we were there, but it
Yeah.
wasn't as
It's
blatantly
just weird.
apparent.
It's just weird. It really is. It's just weird.
Yeah, and the deaths that happened there. We talked about that during the pre-show. They were fucking insane.
Weird stuff. I'm telling you, in the water. It's in the water. Absolutely crazy.
Well, they did find E. coli in the water.
That's because the hippies use it as their toilet.
Yeah.
I know, I don't think you've been back in a bit, but if you actually drive out South Fork, there are cairns that people have set up to mark their driveway. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm searching for right there. That was beautiful. No, straight up. Like, and they've like painted the rocks. So like this Karen over here is blue and it's George's driveway. And this Karen over here is rainbow colored and it's fucking Karen's driveway.
And literally, there's a sign at South Fork that says, you tamper with this fucking water, it's a felony because it is the drinking supply.
Federal land.
Yes, federal land, and it's the drinking supply for the fucking city.
Yeah, and they ended up with E. coli in it 3 times in 1 year.
Yeah, all around. And the 1 year was right around 4th of July.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which,
Yeah.
there are entire businesses that they depend exclusively on one weekend to survive the winter. And it is 4th of July weekend.
Yep. Absolutely insane. But yeah. So Dad told you a couple times that he'd move out. He didn't. When was the first attempt at therapy with the dog that didn't work?
The first attempt at therapy was when was the first time you went? It was right after you went.
When I was going crazy, that was 2016.
Was it sophomore year?
But I think you were younger. I think it was your sophomore year. So
was
I've
either
been very,
freshman
very
or
open
sophomore
with
year.
her about therapy her entire life, and I've always offered it. Hey, do you want to go to therapy? And she had always said, no, I don't want to go. And I'm not the girl that's like, okay, you're going anyway, because that doesn't fucking
I
help.
wanted to figure it out myself. I didn't want pills. I didn't want therapists. I just wanted to try and navigate my own feelings because maybe I was just being, a little hormonal.
So let's go back to your childhood. I'm still in my fucking childhood.
Right?
What part?
No,
Yeah.
he's saying
No, like the
whole
therapist.
being a child going to therapy.
Literally.
No, they always it's that old regression therapy that they don't really use anymore. I mean,
No,
they
not
will
at
still
all.
address shit from your past in your childhood.
Yeah.
But they don't do like let's talk about your entire childhood.
Well, we thought this one was going to be awesome because she
I
used
tried.
therapy.
She was like, "Oh, it's good." She had been going for a couple of months consistently. She was like,
To a different
"Oh, I'm
therapist.
happy. I'm doing it. Therapy is good. Yay!" I was like, "Okay, maybe it's not that bad." And then I tried it, and we walked into it, and we sit down, and Mom goes into the room with me, and we're sitting
No.
there.
I was
And
in
then-
the waiting room, and then you went in by yourself first.
I thought you were in there at first, and then you walked out.
And then
Okay.
you had said like a couple things, and she was like, "We're gonna go get your mom," and you were like, "I'm not ready for that
She
shit."
asked me,
This
she
was
goes,
literally first
We
visit.
talked about it, and she asked me, she goes, "Okay, would you like to talk to your mom about it?" And I was like, "No." She goes, "Well, we're going to go get your mom."
Hey,
Oh,
you know that
okay.
trust that you've been trying to build up? Poof, gone.
And I was
In the
like,
first 15 minutes.
I just had like a deer in headlights look. I was just like, you're gonna what? And
Yeah.
by the time I even like understood it, she was opening up the door and being like, "Hey, Mom, come on in."
Yeah,
And sitting down next to me. And she was
Wow.
like, "So, Mackenzie, do you want to talk?" And I just looked at her and looked at my mom, and she goes, "So your daughter expressed to me," and just starts putting it all on the table. And I was just like, I could have just told her if I knew you were going to do that.
Yeah, it's like
Yes.
when I had one kid that was in therapy, they made sure that had permission to have me come in. And the child guided what was said while I was there. You know, and that's how it should be. Because you need to trust your therapist. If you can't trust your therapist, then what's the point?
Exactly.
It's like you have to be honest with your therapist. You have to trust your therapist.
Yeah, you have to be vulnerable completely.
Yes. And that's
Sure.
really hard to do.
She was lucky enough to find another one a couple of years later that she came to me, "Mom, I need therapy." And
I
was like,
ended
"Okay."
up going on a giant little downward spiral. And I was good my freshman year. And then sophomore year, hormonal teenage shit happened. My dad shit happened. Everything was going on. And my dad was with this girl, and their relationship was very unhealthy to the fullest extent at the end of it. They were very mentally abusing towards each other and verbally abusing towards each other. And there were some things where it wasn't like, I didn't witness them full on like hitting each other or anything. But like there were times where we would have to turn the TV up all the way because they were screaming too loud. And it would be on full blast and we could still hear them. There were times where we could hear them throwing stuff. Like so many different occasions happened towards the end of their relationship around my sophomore year and beginning of freshman year that like also affected me. They had a baby. So I wasn't an only child anymore. I had a half sibling, and she is now living up with my dad, and I am living in Arizona. And I have to wait a couple of months until I can meet her. And now she gets the room, and I was in a very, very hard spot in my life because now my dad's changed. Now my dad's sober. Now my dad has a baby and is going to be there for my sister's childhood. Like, she's going to get the version of my dad that I always dreamed of and I always wanted. And so there was a lot of jealousy that was going through me and a lot of hurt and pain that, like, I went through at that time. because
And
of
let's
that situation.
not forget the teenage hormonal part on top of that.
Right? And like boys and drama and friends and high school and all the normal shit that everyone goes through. And then I'm like,
wonderful
fuck,
teenage stuff.
okay, my dad is having a second chance. Everyone gets a second chance but me. And like that's where I was at. So I definitely started to not enjoy life at all. Because every summer I was sleeping on the couch for 6 weeks at a time, 7 weeks at a time. And then all of a sudden, they find out they're pregnant and they get a new home. They have an extra bedroom. It's a full-blown on nursery, all before the baby's even there. And I'm still going there one more time before the baby's there, and it's a nursery instead of like having a sofa in there for me to just sleep on for the time. And so, like, I don't know, all of that just fucked with me. And so I really wanted to go to therapy. And when that therapist kind of like did that whole, hey, Sarah, or shit.
Oh!
Hey, another name drop.
Close.
Add it to the list. Add it to the list.
Yep, it's added.
I had 30 minutes left.
That's awesome.
You were this close.
Anywho, they were like, hey, Mom.
Nice recovery.
You kind of ruined everything for me. I didn't want to go to therapy. I didn't want to talk about my issues. And then my mom, that lovely lady, also had her own relationship going on. And she got married my freshman year. And me and her were having our own shit. So, like, my relationship with both of my parents were completely spiraled and fucked up because of the relationships they were having at the same time as well.
So basically, life just pulled the rug out from under you, and underneath it was some nice cement.
Yeah. But I'm very, very, very glad and thankful that I decided to go to therapy because I started self-harming in high school. And that was a big thing due to the situation I was in with my family and everyone. And then, like, I had a lot of depression going on. And, like, no one would have
really?
thought
Depression?
it. No one would have had a clue about it. Because I was like my mom. I was a cheerleader. I was happy. I was go-lucky. I was positive. I always tried making everyone smile because my life was, like, going shitty.
Probably had had decent grades.
I had amazing grades. I had A's and B's the entire time up until like once it got really bad and I just stopped caring.
Yeah, I've learned that there's a theme where you're overachievers like that, and like the ones that you least suspect should be the ones that you should suspect.
Yeah. Yeah.
We actually
we're quiet about it.
We actually had a guest on, I believe it was in season 2, who was a teacher who went viral, national headlines, because they had 2 students commit suicide in their time. Their first year they had to commit suicide. Then they had an attempted suicide, and they went, you know what, this is too fucking much. I need to do something. So, yeah. And every time it was that always got there first before the bell, last to leave the school, always got their homework done on time, always punctual. Everybody loved them. Popular, energetic, friendly.
They're hiding a lot
got their
more
shit
than
together, and
people
boom.
overachieve.
You're running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're trying to
just
fill
keeping
up
your life
a
busy
space.
is what you're doing. You're keeping it busy enough so you don't have to stop and actually think or feel.
Oh, yeah.
You're running.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
You're just running in a different direction than some people do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
But you're still running from the same shit.
Exactly.
You ended up with a great therapist, though.
I did, and it helped a lot because I don't know. I was just going through my own shit too, like trying to figure out on my own is my like stubborn hard-headedness to the fullest extent, and I tried.
You get that from your mom.
I tried keeping it for so long. Please say that again because she constantly says I get it specifically from my father, and I get it from both.
I don't know the father. I might.
It is both.
But you know the mother.
I know the mother. I have known your mom for a while.
She's very hard-headed and very stubborn.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, but in the end, she's living the
It
good
worked
life right now.
Yeah, exactly.
When you know what you want and you won't take no for an answer, you will get it.
You get exactly what you want.
There's reasons people do what they do, and the way they are what they are.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I mean, it sounds like now you have a great relationship with your mom. Obviously, let's get that out of the way now.
Yeah.
I mean, you two talk more like best friends.
She is my best friend.
That was the main reason why I had this idea, because we were talking about my childhood, exactly how we have been this entire time. And I was just like, hey, why don't we? Because no parent, no like mother-daughter relationship I've seen communicates like me and my mom do. And like discusses everything the way we do.
That policy of truth, that's huge.
Like I've been straight up with her about a bunch of shit that I don't think she knew I was gonna be straight up with. She wasn't expecting it. But the way she raised me, like, helped navigate our relationship and helped me grow up to like be very open and able to communicate anything to her. Like anything out of this world. I'm 21. Imagine the crazy shit you were doing at 21 to whoever's listening. Like, I told my mom about every single part of it.
Dude, I have definitely heard some shit like that. I'm like, all right, I'm good.
My experience with my mom was a little bit different. My mom, when her dad died, she became an alcoholic.
Oh, honey.
And she was my best friend. I told her everything. And you know how the grapevine is in our hometown.
Yeah.
When I confided in her things that I had told literally nobody else.
Oh.
And then I hear it through the grapevine.
Oh, honey.
It was one of the biggest betrayals of trust I've ever felt in my life. It wasn't just a knife in the back. It was a sword through the heart.
Yeah.
My
Because
mom,
talk in confidence.
yeah. And at that point, I shut down on her, like, completely. And my mom, and this is when I was still dating, just freshly engaged to who I wound up marrying. You know who I'm talking about. And my mom confided in her, going, I don't know why he doesn't talk to me like he used to anymore. She picked up a beer and started drinking. She wanted to say, but she wasn't sure if she could say, that's the reason right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And when she told me that, I said, you should have told her.
Yeah.
I don't care how pissed my family gets. You should have told her.
It's the truth.
I got your back. The rest of my family could go to fucking hell if they're not going to address this problem. She's sober now. I have my mom back.
That's awesome.
Good, at least. Personally, I would rather just I'll just take everything to the grave. I'm not telling my parents. There's no way. Like, no way.
Like, oh God, I trust no one.
I'll give my therapist bits and pieces.
That's the only person I'll tell, okay?
Like,
those are the
don't
only
get
people.
me wrong, she doesn't know every detail and extent, but she knows a lot more than majority parents should know.
Well, that's the same way I am with my older kids. I always had that policy of truth. I'm just going to shoot straight with you.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to temper down some content based on your maturity. But as you become more mature and we revisit, I'm going to reveal more.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
As you show me that you can handle it. And I think I have a great relationship with my older kids.
Like, don't get me wrong, it hasn't been this perfect the entire time.
Oh no, there's rough patches.
Very, very, very shitty freaking 3 years? Mm-hmm. We were not good for each other. We hated each other.
No. You hated me and didn't tell me.
I didn't know how to express my feelings at that time.
I know.
Mom walks
We
into
love
the
it.
mom walks into the bedroom and sees a burning effigy of her. Whoa!
Like,
Doesn't know how to
changed.
explain it.
Things changed drastically in our house after I left one of my boyfriends, who ended up being her father figure.
He was the
Okay.
one who was like in my life majority of the time.
So,
Even when
yeah.
my dad was locked up, even after my dad got out for the first couple of years, like my dad came down and shared a Christmas with all of us, and that father figure was there. And my dad stayed in the house, and we all spent a Christmas together as a whole family.
He had a part in her life, being the male figure in her life from the time she was 5 until she was 10. So like
That's
half
a
of
big
it.
chunk.
Yeah. And then I broke up with him. And I didn't, I mean, that was a fucking rough one to navigate too. Because I wanted to tell her, here are my plans. But she would have talked to his daughter and like, you know, it's adult shit and I don't need you involved in my fucking relationship. So,
No, and I get it.
yeah, now you do.
Now.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that one created a little bit of hatred towards me, simply because not only did I get rid of the father figure, but I also got rid of the sibling by doing so. The only sister she had at that time, the only sibling she had at that time. And then I started dating my best friend, and he moved into the house right away, and that did just absolutely destroyed the rest of it.
Damn.
Just fucking destroyed. Well, I changed, and I didn't realize that I had made changes and adjustments in the house, and he actually really started running all the shit in the house, and neither one of us had much of a say, and it just happened so fast that I didn't realize that it had happened.
Your reality kind of just takes over for a second.
You know, so she really hated me. I mean, we've very openly talked about that one. She's like, Mom, I hated you. I'm like, well, I get it now.
And like the only way she would be able to ever get me to open up, this was her trick. This was her trick. This is how she knew that like when my depression got bad, it really went bad, because I told her I wanted to go for a drive and talk. So every single time I did not want to talk, she'd be like, hey, let's go get Starbucks. You want some Starbucks? Let's go get Starbucks.
Drive and talk.
And we would be driving and we would get Starbucks. And then she'd be like, okay, you're not getting out of the car until we talk. We're not going home until you open up.
I am kidnapping you.
Yeah, pretty much. And it worked.
Did. I absolutely did. Every time. I forced her to talk to me, and I forced her to be open with me. It fucking worked.
Doesn't work for all relationships, but you obviously know your kid best.
I'm going to make you super uncomfortable and make you talk to... It's called communication. That's what makes relationships work. Yeah, crickets. I see you there.
No. I just got buzzed by a fly.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I'm thinking about throwing it into my Black Widow. Sorry, cat.
So, yeah. I mean, we, like everybody, had good times, rough times, this, that, and the other. I think we navigated things too. I feel personally that we were able to navigate emotions, life, and all of our shit better than the average bear.
Now, how is the relationship with both of you, individually with the dad?
You want to go first, Mom?
Right now?
Yeah, how you guys
now? Or how was
now?
it growing up afterwards? Like,
well, I mean, we only have 17 minutes.
Oh, okay, right.
So I'm just saying, like, just to cap it off now. Unless you want to do a part 2 as the season premiere of next season.
I'm always down for this shit. It's all fair.
We're going to take 2 weeks off, so it'd be in 3 weeks.
That's fine.
Do you think that you have enough to take up another episode? It doesn't have to be the full 3 hours.
It won't be 3 hours, but we got more than enough shit.
If it's an hour and a half, we're good.
Okay.
I'm like, we got more than enough crap.
He said, shit, I need to write this down.
Gotta take notes.
We have got more than
So,
September
16th?
I'm in.
Yom Kippur.
Good.
Oh, yay!
All right, so yeah. That is going to be our premiere for Season 7, is we're going to continue on with the navigating the relationship with your dad and your mom with your dad and how you guys dealt with it between you two, because I'm sure there's a lot of shit there. Just from my perspective, having a son who has a different biological father, I know there's shit there.
Yeah.
I know firsthand. Now, the difference, he would call at the randomest fucking times, always when we had plans, and say, I'm coming up this weekend and I want to see my boy. Okay. Drop our plans. Whatever. And we wait. And
Fucking
we wait.
kids.
And we wait.
And they don't show up. Yep.
No call, no show.
Fuck that.
3 days later, we start hearing rumors that we hid from him. Like, bullshit. We stayed home by the phone the entire time. We didn't have a beeper. We didn't have a cell phone. Shit, they didn't have cell service in our area. And beepers barely worked in some areas.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then we moved to San Diego. We get one call, and he promises, I'm going to call every day. I'm going to call every day. And we're like, you shouldn't make that promise. You should actually call every day for about 2 to 3 weeks before you make that promise, just so you know what kind of commitment it is.
Right?
Yeah,
what you're getting into?
Right. Say it for the people in the back.
Yeah. You know what happened? The very next day?
Doesn't call.
No call. We didn't get a call for like 3 years.
That's how it was.
Jesus.
The only time I really heard from my dad after he got out was maybe a month before I was gonna go up there for vacation.
Yeah, he called, and my son got on the phone and said, I don't know who you are. You're not my dad. I have a dad. I don't need you in my life. Go away.
Nice.
Man, you talk about fist pump proud dad here. I was like, yeah, that's right. I'm your dad.
That's my boy. I raised that boy.
That's my boy, man. That's my boy.
That's
You hear that?
hilarious.
You hear that?
That's hilarious shit.
It just goes, and he was, God, 8, 9 years old when he did that. Like, seriously, to have that level of self-awareness was mind-blowing. Because usually at that age, you're still going maybe one day I can live with my daddy, too.
Yes.
Right?
I wasn't able to, like, speak up on anything like that until I got older. But I always asked him, and it's still forever going to ring in my head, and he will probably never answer it completely. What happened? What happened? Like, I want to know everything. And he always told me that I was too young. When you're old, in a couple of years, ask again. You're too young right now.
You're 21.
Oh, I have a baby.
You have a baby. I mean,
Come on now. If I'm legal to drink,
I'm legal to... You still have your frontal lobe developing until you're 25, but you don't need the fucking frontal lobe for this.
Like,
that's long-term planning. You don't need that to hear what happened.
Right. So it's always been like, it's always going around the story, or like saying that it's not his fault and it's always someone else's fault.
I actually, and I'm going to toss an extra something in there, which we'll bring up on Premiere, because I'm actually jotting it down. But at the bequest of her therapist, it was a case of, hey, you should really sit your parents down together in a room and talk to them. Okay, when you're ready, you should...
And neither of them were expecting it.
You should sit them down and talk to them. So he actually came up for her 18th birthday. It was funny story. It was her 18th birthday, and he was actually there because I was taking him to court for back child support. But
wow,
at least he showed up and was like, "Hey, it's her birthday. I might as well show up."
He's like, "Happy birthday! You're 18. They're not going to go for this." Oh, you don't know the courts, buddy.
I did it 2 days before she turned 18.
Yep, that's all it takes.
I was like, she's not, and by the way, back child support, I could go if she was 32 and be like,
Yep.
this son of a bitch never paid child support.
Yep, when you're in arrears, they will get you. And
Which, by the way, I haven't seen a penny of said back child support, because when he ended up going back home, he got fired from his job and has never found another one above the table.
now, here's a question. Has he actually let anybody in the legal system know about this? Because if they didn't... and I know this firsthand. I was in arrears pretty bad at one point.
Oh, were you?
Yep, and it turns out that my chat crashed, and there was a lot of stuff I missed.
Yeah.
Austin did say this was another awesome show, and thank you for sharing. Your life story should be a book, a movie, a play. I love how much you laughed through how much you survived. I have to cut out. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And
Thank you.
Kat was talking about the teacher I was talking about. She actually did do a TED Talk. It was a TEDx Denver. One of the most famous TEDx's ever. Like, everybody went viral that went on that thing. But she went because she had already gone viral. Everyone else had to try to get on TED.
Got you.
She got the, here's the red carpet, come on in.
Got you.
Richard says the number one sign of a bad dad are extreme promises.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And Richard also said a policy of truth only arises from coming from an environment of lies.
Yeah.
I can agree with
Actually.
that.
Yeah. I never thought of that, but yes. Totally.
And then Missy was talking about the betrayals. Like, definitely had a situation like that happen with my grandmother, but so blessed my mom had such great respect for privacy. Got some cheers for, my son just dropping the bomb. Cat actually sent a spider.
Yes. The Black Widow.
Cat say, thank you, looking forward to part 2. Yes.
I'm excited.
I told you it would be.
I had a feeling from the get-go that this was going to be a 2-parter. Now, last time I did a 2-parter, it was literally ended the episode because we ran out of time, started a fresh episode immediately after.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was the season finale of season 1.
Wasn't that the internal family systems?
Yes. Yes.
Now remember that.
My first time I cried on a podcast.
Dude, you went through the fucking experience. You totally did.
Yeah. And which is funny, I'm actually going to go see Rachel this weekend too.
Are you?
Yeah. She doesn't have her private practice anymore. That's why we don't push it.
Gotcha.
It was just
Okay.
taking up way too much of her time from her family and her kids. So she was like, fuck it. I'm just going to work for the man for now because...
Because family and kids are important and they grow fast.
Exactly. And you know what? Utmost respect for having the ability to see it and do the right thing. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm going to go visit my daughter tomorrow, Saturday.
Your little grandbaby.
Yes. And then Sunday, I'm seeing my true BFF. Like, I don't know how we didn't become super close as friends until after I moved from San Diego. It's just the weirdest thing. But like, he was my best man at my wedding. I was his best man at his wedding. Like, he's my brother. He is my brother. Gonna go see him because he's an hour and a half away from my daughter. And he's married to Rachel, who's just fucking awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna see her too.
Look at how lucky you are.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun trip.
That's awesome. I'm excited for you.
You're
Yeah.
so adorable.
Aw,
I'm excited for you.
thank you. Yeah, so yeah, we are going to have to do a part 2, and the 2 weeks off. That's charging our batteries,
Charging our batteries.
and also scheduling. We already got the episode 1 scheduled, so that's awesome.
Glad it was easy.
Yeah, no, and we do have a few people that are like kind of waitlisted that want to have an episode. So we're gonna be like,
You had a wait list.
we do, and we say, and we go, here are the days that are available. Pick your day, first come, first serve. We're not reserving for anybody. Now, we did reserve for Rachel.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Yeah.
And I am still looking for another therapist that I could bring on to, talk about this stuff too. Like listen to our episodes and then share their experiences, share their thoughts and feelings about what we're doing. Maybe address some people directly about some of their episodes. Like, yeah,
oh no!
Like Rachel when Rachel was a part of this, she would reach out to me during episodes and say, "Hey, has this person considered this or that or this?" You know, and I reach out to them, going, "Hey, have you looked into these things?" And they're like, a lot of times, like, "Yeah, we kind of explored that," and sometimes it's like, "Wait, no, that makes a lot of sense," you know. So she was really involved in helping this to grow, and I mean, like seriously, I can never thank her enough for that.
That's cute.
That's love of people, man.
Yeah, but I'm looking for that again. I have been for seasons.
That's a legit love of people.
Yes,
Literally.
Actually, that's why I love my therapist. He really I have talked to him about my antidepressants and all this, like the course of medication that I've recently been put on, and he's like, goal is to have you off of it in 2 years if we can. He's like, I want to all the shit that's up here, and if it is a chemical imbalance, then we just keep it. But if it's not, then we can fix this and get rid of it.
right.
And I'm like, okay, all right, dude, let's.
And Missy just volunteered to be that one.
Ooh,
She is a therapist.
yay!
I'm excited.
Yes, it's nice to have that again. Thank you, Missy. I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Like, seriously, I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Duh, I have one already listening and was on a guest.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm hitting fatigue. I love the show. I really, really do. Like, seriously, I fight tooth and nail to make sure every episode goes. I will come out of my deathbed for this shit. Like, it is not happening without me doing something. I will say that Bexy and C did run an episode without me because it was my daughter's birthday.
Life is important.
But I still had my fingers in it. I still had my fingers in it. Had to. But yeah, so we'll be back after a 2-week break. I have already set myself a challenge for the next season. I also have a small challenge for the co-hosts that I'm going to discuss after the fact.
She sounds nervous.
Yes. Yeah, you know, that's the thing is that, you know, there's always something that we can do to make this a little more fun, make it a little better, make it a little more interesting. There's always room for improvement. And I'm always looking for that. So yeah. And I still want to get the app. I still want to have our own app. I really do. But that's so much goddamn work. And it's really expensive too.
Is it?
Yeah, Spreaker will actually create an app for a podcast. $100 a year for a Android, $100 a year for iOS. So it's $200 a year. But I have to go and set up all the back-end stuff with Google Play Store, with the Apple App Store, in order to be able to get those set up, and they require a lot of shit that I'm just like, I ain't got time for that right now. I got a lot on my plate. I ain't got time for that right now.
Yeah.
Now, if we started getting funding, to that level, I'd be like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna. Hey, anybody know how to do this shit? I'm gonna hire you one day. Get this done. Because it only takes like a day to get it done. It's a day I just don't have.
I feel that. It's like I told my mom, I feel there's 36 hours in a day for parents sometimes. And that extra 12 hours is just hidden somewhere in 2 minutes. Yeah. And it just passes by.
Yeah. And then Richard said first the app, then the world! One of my favorite things that I used to do with my kid all the time, and I do this when I pick her. I'm going to do it for my kids now too. When I pick them up from school, when they're around all their friends, is do the and stop.
Oh Lord!
Leave it freaking hanging.
See, we just scared the crap out of each other, literally, in our house. Like, it was a contest to see if you could get somebody so scared that they cried.
It worked. It worked.
I've never made somebody cry, but I made multiple people pee.
Dude, I had a friend, like, we have this huge desert sage bush right by our front door.
And you did see your daughter flip you off, right?
Yeah, I did. It's a family language.
It's the California howdy!
But yeah, so I had this friend who had come over. She had no idea he was at the house. We had this huge sage bush in front of the door. And I knew she was coming home
30
from
seconds.
The park, so I had him duck down behind the sagebrush, and I'm walking her up the walk on one side. He jumped out. Oh my God. She is not a flight girl.
I dropped.
All right, but she's also not a fighter. She's that in between. She dropped to the ground and just started crying.
Damn. All right, everybody. We have just enough time for the outro. We will see you guys in just a couple of weeks. Until then, I'm E.
I'm C.
And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.